I love it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bae. I am Bae, and this is Bae. Say hi, Bae.
Hi, Bae.
And this is other Bae. Say hi.
Hi.
And today we're talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, the first book in the ACOTAR series, also by Sarah J. Maas mostly. I don't know why I said mostly.
It's 100% by her.
Yeah. This has taken us a while to get here. I don't really know why, but.
Also something fun I did with
it was only suggested like 4 weeks ago. That's why.
Well, because TJ was like, "Oh my god, we should do it," and I was like, "I love the series. I'm willing to read it 100 times." This is actually surprisingly only my second read through, but I'm also, since I've read almost the entirety of Throne of Glass, which is our first series. This is her second series.
Braved Throne of Glass.
This is the
let me finish it. And I'll tell you my full thoughts.
Okay.
And then I've read both Crescent City books, so I know that everything, spoiler alert, happens in the same universe. So I'm becoming that TikTok girl where I'm pulling the references, and I'm like, okay, that's a parallel to this and this and this. And
yeah.
this.
So I knew going in that it all happened in the same universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, I just want to get a couple things out of the way.
Yes.
When I first read ACOTAR, if you've been on like Book Talk or anything, it's very much advertised as like fairy smut. It's like not that.
It's not.
Especially not the first book. Also, now that said, it's also classed as like YA.
I don't think it fits there though.
The first book is like something like maybe like if you ignore the content completely.
I think how I would describe it is, you know what New Adult was supposed to be? It's kind of like the bridge between YA and New Adult.
Yeah.
Like
but you could be a 17-year-old and read this fine, or you could be a 22-year-old and read this fine.
You could be 33 and read it fine.
You could be 26 and read it fine.
We were talking before we came on. The first time I read it, I was expecting fairy smut, and it's because that's what it was advertised as. And
that's what you'll find on TikTok.
But like no, and so because I was expecting something different, I was waiting for something different, and like it's not what happened. But this time I knew what I was getting into.
So because I know that when we talked about it when we talked about it, and you were like, yeah, there was a lot of scenes that I just like right through. Because I was waiting for the next romance scene, and I kind of forgot that too. That's not what this book series is.
No,
especially like the first 3, it's not smut. The second book, there's some, and then they get higher in intensity as you go on. But like,
but like that's not the fade to black like YA, but it's still very vague.
It was amorphous blob.
But it's just interesting, like the marketing for, and I don't know if I want to say like marketing as in marketing. Because marketing makes it sound too intentional on like the author's part.
It's the word of mouth. It's the word of mouth.
But the way that people talk about it as if like there's not a story. I don't know.
Well, and it's when they're talking about fairy porn, I feel like they're exclusively just talking about Court of Silver Flames. Because that is the most spicy book of them all. It has the most sex scenes. It has the most just...
Right.
But even still, it still has a plot. Was it necessary plot? We'll get there in a few weeks.
I have talked about that too.
But
I have no opinion.
Let it be smut. You don't need a story. It's fine.
This time, like one of my notes was Feyre originally older? Because this is my theory. I think Feyre was originally the oldest sister. She's the youngest. So there's Nesta is the oldest, Elaine, and then Feyre. Feyre's 19 in this book. And I was also saying to you before we started the stream that like the fan art's hilarious to me because all the boys are either like they look 17 or they look 30 in fan art.
And they're supposed to look like 30.
Which makes me just think like that Feyre was supposed to be
older. Yeah.
Was supposed to be older. And then they were like, we need to market this as YA. So could you just
change like literally, I think it mentions her age once in ACOTAR, and then I'm currently reading ACOMAF. It's not nearly as fun as ACOTAR. Mist and Fury is the one I'm on right now, and they mention her age, I think, only once as well.
Yeah.
And so like, and it's an easy edit to make.
That's the other thing too, is like, it's not like it's urban fantasy or something where aging her down would be like a big deal, you know, because if you have like a mid-20s character and you're like, we're gonna need her to be in high school, you'd be like, you know, because in a high fantasy setting, it's super easy to just chop off some years and
exactly, because nothing really changes.
Like you didn't.
Because the only thing that changes for Farah is literally just how old she is. Nothing about her personality is different. Like, I also think that she was supposed to be, so for age reference, Nesta's like 25 or 26, Elaine is like 22 to 23, and then Farah is 19 in book 1. Yes.
Yeah. I did just send you guys a thing. I don't know where the actual source of this picture is, so I can't tell you. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are on the fan art in this. You will just have to wait till she moves her head around it.
Okay, I can already tell you this is not my headcanon for Reese. A lot of the fan art. Okay, can I just for a moment? A lot of the fan art for Reese is ugly. A lot of the fan art for Reese, he's ugly. And I'm like, he's supposed to be the hottest thing since sliced bread. The only person supposed to be more pretty than him is Azriel, which you have not met yet, Mara, but he's canonically the prettiest of like the main group of
most of the fan art for Reese is also much whiter than I picture him.
Yes.
I've also seen I can't find this video. I'll have to look for it, but I saw this video because I'd already started reading it, and it was just like how I.
You think that's? Do you think that's ugly? Reese? That picture of Reese?
No, I don't think that one's ugly. I was going off before just in case it was ugly. No, but that's not how I imagine him. I picture him darker. Yeah.
I picture him darker.
Which in this book he's very, very pale because he hasn't seen sunlight in 50 years.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, but the way he's described, I
find the Reese. Oh yeah. This is my headcanon for Reese fan art. For what he actually looks like.
Is Farah blonde? I thought she was.
Farah is dirty blonde. She is light brown, dark blonde.
I guess because of the original cover art, I picture her as like redheaded.
Yeah, no, she's not. Okay, I sent y'all.
Who the heck is that on the original cover then? What the
I know. That's
illustrated. You could have done anything.
Yeah, this is why when you decide to go with a publisher, you need to be to your contract that you get to sign off on the covers.
This is what Reese looks like.
That's how I picture him too.
Yeah, like that's my Reese. Tamlin is. I'd have to go back to that video, so I can tell you if that's what I think. Tamlin, kind of, yeah. Farah,
I think she does say in that Tamlin is the one that she has the most issues with. She was like, look, most of these are like pretty much close to spot on. Tamlin is the one that is.
Let me find. I wonder if I can find my favorite Farah fan art too. It's hard. Farah's a little bit more difficult. There's like one that I found that I really think is like her. Okay. So you're not the only one that thinks she has like reddish hair. That's the Farah that I imagine.
That's pretty much how I picture her too.
And then tampon. I will not Google tampon fan art. I'll type in Tamlin fan art. Oh yeah, this is Tamlin to me.
Yeah, that's
the guy who plays Beast in Beauty and the Beast, the live action version. That is Tampon.
Oh, I've got a soft spot for him because he was in Downton Abbey.
Yes, I know, and his storyline is so fucking sad in Downton Abbey. Anyways,
I will say, freaking Downton Abbey. Like, if you are in the Downton Abbey universe, do not have a child because either you or the other parent will die almost immediately after birth or at some point.
Right. Are we going to count this as real quick for ratings? Are we going to count this as a romance novel and use our new star system?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Why not? Right?
Why
okay.
Not?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So I will have the highest. Really? You say 5 stars?
No, I was going to say. So I was going to explain the rating system. So 5 stars is this has changed my life. And 4 stars is BRB looking for clones. 3 stars is it sure was a romance novel. 2 stars is it has done something that has violated my sense of reality, whether it is like the writing is terrible in some kind of way, or it has completely ruined suspension of disbelief. 1 star is like it wasn't even fun. So for me, this one hovers, the book itself, without the dramatization, hovers between like 3 and 4, depending on where we are. With the dramatization, it's closer to 4, but by the time we get to the end and we're just hanging out in pits for no reason and she can't figure out that the answer to the fucking riddle is love for like 5 hours, yeah, now then we're at 2 because you have violated my suspension of disbelief completely. And the book is long enough that it warrants multiple ratings. Yes, hello, how can I help you?
So my overall,
you go because I have the highest.
Okay.
I know I have
my overarching rating would probably be 4. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. The riddle, like when she finally solved it, I was just like, so I was fucking right.
Yes, that's why I sent you that emoji.
I got it from the first line.
So to be fair, I'm just
not even the first rhyme. The first line.
I'm just as stupid as Farrah. I never got it. Either time I've read this book, I've never gotten it. I'm not good at riddles. I'm just not good at
well, it's not, you don't have to be good.
That way.
It's not a well-written riddle. Like,
yeah,
it's
but
not
like,
it's genuinely not a well-written riddle. It's not a solvable riddle. I was just like,
I even can't.
The first time I read it, though, I was like, if this is going to be a House of Night Love, Always Love thing, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. And then it was. And I sat through so many hours of audiobook to get to Love, Always Love, and I was pissed. But overall, it's a very enjoyable read.
Well, and you're going to hate it.
It didn't feel as long as what it was.
No. So the first one is kind of, excluding the novella, is the shortest. They get longer every single book.
Yeah.
By far.
But I will say, so the first time I read it, I read the audiobook, and I was not a huge fan of the narration's okay.
She uses the same narrator for every single one of her book series.
No, they changed.
I thought she did.
Halfway through. Nope, it changes halfway through, and it ticked me off.
Well, because
I hate it when they change narrators.
I listened to the first like 8 chapters of ACOTAR, and it's the same one from Throne of Glass.
Well, she changes halfway through the ACOTAR series, and it's very frustrating.
That's horrible.
And it's not that like either narrator was worse or like better, but like once you get used to a narrator, it's very hard. But also, like, I will say this: anytime we're in like some kind of romance series where I have to take like, or not necessarily a romance series, but like a romance series, but also a series where I really have to take the men seriously, having good guy voices, it helps a lot. It really helps, because here's the thing. The narrator for Farrah is good. She fits Farrah. Does she fit like? But I'm also supposed to be sitting here thinking like the Tamlin's sexy, you know, like going in like fine. I have to think the Tampon's sexy.
That's why like, Haunting Adeline was such a nice refresher.
Exactly. And like Tampon didn't have sexy voice, you know.
Boring, but you got used to it, and I appreciate
it. Well, like even Lucian, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Lucian's got a sexy voice in the dramatized version. I was like, damn, Lucian, hello.
So that's the thing with the ACOTAR series is last summer, they released the first 3 books or 4 books, I think, with the novella in a dramatized version where it's a movie for your mind, and it's incredible. I mean, I'm obsessed.
It's enjoyable, and I normally don't love like dramatized versions. I normally don't need them.
I don't either, but like for this,
it cuts down on the length, which is great for me
considerably.
Also, it cut out any instance, because as I was listening to the audiobook, I remembered that we dove into clicking tongues, because that is her favorite fucking dialogue tag from ACOTAR. And listening to the dramatized version eliminated that dialogue tag entirely. So
because all you just hear
so it was wonderful. I loved that, because I only had to hear it once, and then I switched to the dramatized version. I never heard it again. It was great.
Anyways, this is one of my favorite books of all time. The book series, that is. ACOTAR.
You know, as I was reading it, I was actually like, I was actually like, I can see like why this is actually like one of my favorite books I think that I've read in like a while.
It's even 5-star.
I mean the rating, when it's like when it hovers between like 3 to 4 to like 2 in like a very specific spot. But as far as like my personal enjoyment, like also like a 5. I don't know.
This was my gateway into romance fantasy, which is my favorite genre. Without this book, I would have never gotten there. So for me, like this is, I mean, it's top tier, and it's only this series is beaten out by Crescent City, but only because I have so much love for ACOTAR. If I did not have this much love for ACOTAR, I know I would not like Crescent City nearly as much. And yeah, so that's my little emotional rant about ACOTAR. It's one of my, it's a really close to my heart.
Yeah, no, this. Going through this book, because I'm not gonna lie, there's a reason why I finished it at like 12:30 last night. Because look, I've had these books for months. I've had them for months. Mm-hmm. But my issue is unless something forces me to read a new book, my brain has a really hard time reading a new book.
I completely understand. I'm the same way.
Yeah. And
I'm the same way.
And I'm listening to it, and like my brain wasn't committed for like the first like hour and a half, 2 hours of the book.
Well, that's fair.
I was enjoying it still, but no, it was fine. It was a perfectly acceptable intro. It was enjoyable. I'm sure when I go back and re-listen, I'll pick up a lot more and appreciate a lot more because my brain was only like 50% there. But as I'm listening to it, though, I'm just like, this is why I need to just not be such a shit and need to actually read books that I haven't read before. Because there's a whole world out there.
Listen, it's popular and a lot of people like to shit on popular things, but like, not saying any three of us do. We can appreciate a good popular thing. But I know that is an opinion out there that you shit on it because it's popular. But this series, genuinely, if you like romance, fantasy, light on the romance at first, it's the staple for the genre.
Well, here's the thing. I actually, knowing that it wasn't going to be heavy on the romance, I enjoyed it so much more because I actually was listening to it this time for like the story and like the subtlety, and we'll get into this. But as I was like really paying attention to her interactions with Tamlin.
Oh my gosh, I wrote down every.
I was like so impressed, and I was like, I would have actually,
especially given what happens.
Okay, I take back the 4. It was definitely a 4. Solid 4 until we get to the riddle. I'm sorry, I take it back.
That's okay.
Because I was actually really impressed at how subtle the interactions with Tamlin were, and also at how like she really keeps us away from Tamlin. And I remember her like going to Lucian first, but I was like, wow, we like really never speak to Tamlin. And I didn't even notice that we don't talk to him. Because normally when we read books, I'm like, we've never spoken. I didn't notice it the first time I read this book, that we've never spoken.
Yeah. And then you read it again and you're like, her and Tamlin have like very little conversations. Like there's that one, we'll get into it, but like they have some like by that pond of starlight.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
like, are you fucking kidding me? The foreshadowing is so strong.
Yeah, it is.
It's slap you in the fucking face strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because again, I know who Endgame is, right?
Oh yeah.
But then obviously, like she goes there and she's got like all of this, like even though her and Tamlin don't talk much, they've got crazy energy, right?
They do have good energy.
And I'm confused. But then she's spending half the book with Lucian, and I'm like, but I wasn't getting vibes. But I'm like, is this like I don't know?
But
like,
every now and then you could
confused.
Get from Blood and Ash vibes, where we have our vampire and our werewolf, and we're gonna be a throuple now. Yes, that's fair.
I never got.
Is she setting up a square?
I
it
got
doesn't
that
sound like she's setting
rereading
up a
it.
square.
Yeah, I could see that rereading it. I never got that on first read.
Yeah,
though.
same.
I was just like, and you know what? Maybe it was because I was reading it with the narrator, and the voice that she gives Lucian in the audiobook is just not.
Which is so sad.
It's just not sexy.
Justice for my boy Lucian.
But
he's got
a much nicer voice in the dramatized version. So like I definitely got it from the dramatized version. Also, it was a much different experience hearing like the guys with the guy voices, you know.
Oh my gosh.
It's much easier to, you know, what was funny is like now in my head they're not like,
give it, like a quick listen.
Well, because now in my head they're not just like super dainty fairies, which is what they were before.
Yeah, now they're men, you know, males. Excuse me.
It was like, oh right, yes, men. So we should, you know what? We've done ratings. Let's get this on track. Characters. We're gonna start with Farah. She's our point of view character. Sarah J. Maas has written this correctly. Not that like first or third person is more correct than the other, but she's written it in past tense, like a freaking normal person.
This is also her only series in first person.
Yeah.
Fun fact, because I've read her others, so.
Yeah, but it's
only
in past
first
tense,
person.
which is. I've noticed that a lot of romance fantasy is in past tense.
Yes, thank God. Because it's my favorite.
But like contemporary romance tends to be in present tense, and it's for dick. I hate it.
I think the upside to this one, which is what like part of what puts it into something that goes with past tense, especially as well as yes, the romantic subplot is often more plot than sub, but it's not the plot. It kind of is the plot, but it's not the plot of the book.
Yeah. Like you can tell there's something bigger going to happen.
It's a very strong subplot. Like it does drive the actual plot, but it's not.
Yes.
It's not like it's not a romance book.
Yeah.
So
it's not exclusive.
So Farah is 19, like we talked about. She's
the youngest of 3 sisters.
We live in the south of Great Britain. We live in Cornwall.
Literally, yes.
And she
the map is Great Britain.
And she
I've recently read Hunger Games, and I'm like, she's
she's
proficient with a bow and arrow.
She's proficient with a bow and arrow. She hunts to feed her ungrateful family.
God, Nesta's such a fucking bitch.
I forgot how like
because
almost like cartoonishly goofy the family is.
Well, and I remember you were like, Nesta doesn't deserve people being so mean to her, and I was like, yes, she does. She's genuinely so mean. She is so mean. And like Farah thinks about it a lot. Like she calls her sister useless all the time. And like, and I'm like, she's the only reason you're fucking fed, Nesta. She's my favorite character. Don't get me wrong. I love Nesta.
I do also love Nesta, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I did with like Aphrodite. I'm going to put this on Sarah J. Maas, and I'm going to say that Nesta did nothing wrong and that it's not her fault that Sarah wrote her like that. And there's nothing she could do about it.
Nah, Nesta needs silver flames to become better.
But also like everybody like abuses the fuck out of her in Silver Flames. So
yes, for decent reason though.
No,
you never read the book.
I have no opinion.
You never read the book that leads to Silver Flames. And from what I remember, it's justified.
Having read like Silver Flames itself, the stuff that like the inner circle does to Nesta, I'm like, I don't really care what the fuck she said. You guys are like immortal fairies. You should be more mature than that. It's Nesta with a T.
Oh yes, Nesta.
Let me. So, I am going to assume that we will be reading a Court of Frost and Starlight.
Yeah, we have to. Like, look, I don't know how many times a person can run up
doing novellas.
I don't know how many times a person can run up and down stairs as fucking penance before like we all just get over it. But
that's fair. but also it's I love Silver. It's my favorite of the series. Like, it's not like I'm defending everyone else. Also,
I'm
by
a
the
Nesta
time-
apologist. I'm sorry.
But-
you and I
but also-
are just gonna fight over this.
I know. But also, by the time you get to Silver Flames, all the characters are just cartoonish versions of themselves, except for Nesta. So it's fine because everyone gets neutered for some reason.
Yeah, I think that was
So
like kind
weird.
of my other problem was that everybody else had kind of like devolved.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see. But we need
Yeah.
to get back to ACOTAR. We're like 5 books ahead.
I will say, just to be a bit of a Nesta apologist for this book or whatever, because how old were they all when Mummy died and Daddy lost all their money and everything?
It was supposed to happen 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so from what we see, because they're back in their old house when she goes back here. That's where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So
they're not in their old house before they lost everything. No.
Okay.
But I guess they're in an equivalent house or whatever.
They are.
And
I don't think that they are in the same house.
And Nesta being the firstborn or whatever as well, she's probably always going to be the most desirable to be courted. Because that's typically how it goes for oldest daughters of wealthy people, like wealthy whatever, in this kind of universe. And she's lived this life of absolute utter luxury until what? How old is she? Like until she's 16, 17? And now she's living in a hovel where she has one pair of shoes that and can barely and she's starving every day. Like, I'd be a fucking miserable bitch too.
So she's 18 though. She is 18 when it happens, and her little sister so they're 4 years apart. So
how old are they all?
Farrah was 14 when everything went down. I assume that they're 2 to 3 years apart each. So I assume 22-ish, because I can't.
Let me bring up the
Farrah,
wiki, okay?
Farrah is like literally about to turn 20.
Okay,
like she's a few months away from.
How do you spell her name?
Farrah.
Feyre.
Okay, thank you. There we go, because it's just easier to get the wiki up by searching.
Elaine was 22. Nesta.
To the wiki, we need answers.
Nesta, but Nesta's supposed to be 22 in ACOTAR too, but it said that Elaine is 22. They're not twins. I know that.
Maybe they're Irish twins.
No one knows.
They could be Irish twins.
Okay, they're 1 year apart.
No, the wiki says she's 20 or 20. Elaine is 20 or 21.
Yes, they're 1 year apart each. Then.
Okay.
I imagine them so much older.
Quick.
Yeah, I imagine them so much different.
That, I guess, in a way as well, that explains why it was put onto her to support the family, because Mum was like, look, Nesta, she's used to luxury. She can't adapt to not luxury. Elaine is just a precious little petal. She's Primrose. It's fine.
Gosh dang right.
And you're the only one that has, like, an ounce of, what's the word? What's the word where you can
gumption?
Roll with the punches? Resilience and adaptability. She's honestly, the only one with resilience and adaptability.
Elaine annoys me more.
I don't like Elaine that much.
Oh, because Elaine, at least Nesta yells at people.
She's
she's got something.
Elaine, because presumably Elaine's book is next. It's either Elaine or Asriel that's next.
I don't like the
maybe I like her better.
Side characters that is like the precious little flower that you must protect.
I don't either. And that's all Elaine is.
And like in Vampire Academy, at least Lissa grows a fucking spine at some point in that series.
Lissa goes through a lot. Like
book one, Lissa is Elaine, I feel like. At least based on just reading this one book.
Elaine's gonna go through
experience. You know what? I think Bae, you're not gonna stop making Lissa comparisons. Honestly,
okay. No, because the
you're
thing
not.
Is Elaine's gonna go through this isn't a big spoiler.
The darkness,
a really severe depression. She's gonna go into a really severe depression.
But it's not gonna be explored in the same way that Lissa's depression
out the exact same way.
Is.
because she's not a main character. She's a side character. But I just realized that they never name their father. That's such an interesting detail
he's an
to me.
unnamed father. Which
That's so
it makes sense. It makes sense.
That's so
she's
cool
like
to
my
me.
dad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many times where I mention my mother's name or think. I'm not
a parent, but like parenting tips from book club would say, before your kids go to school or whatever, before you let them loose on the world, make sure that they know both their legal name and your name, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
it's not that I don't think Farrah knows her dad's name.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it just popped in my head.
With my kids, I started off like doing it more like a bit of a singy thing, but now it's just like your name is, and the kids have to say their full name, including middle names, everything. I'm like, and you live at, and they say
your address.
I'm like, and your mum is, and your dad is. And your mummy's number is, and your daddy's number is.
Yeah,
you don't want a situation where your kids think that their parents' names are Jim, Dear, and Darling.
Yeah, right.
Because if you don't tell them otherwise, they will actually think that your name is like Jim, Dear, or Darling. Okay,
I think that actually is their name. I'm pretty sure Darling's name is Darling Dear.
No, but like in Lady and the Tramp, she thinks because that's what they call each other, so she thinks that.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think that's what the names actually are.
I don't think
that's my headcanon. That's the legal names.
I think that actually is.
It's like in Incredibles when what's his name? Frozen. He's like, "Honey, where's my super suit?" Her name's actually Honey. Because in Incredibles 2, I'm pretty sure. What's her face? The mum is like, "Say hi to Honey for me." Like it's actually her name.
Anyway.
Hang on, I found the quote unquote official Reese artwork. This is the one that I despise.
Is there official?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Is there official artwork?
Show me.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if this is official. Let me.
Is there official artwork?
I'm googling it. Actual official artwork.
I imagine it would be on her website.
No.
If there is.
No, there's not. She never does that. So I know she has Pinterest boards that she hides after publishing. And I know that because TikTok is insane about this woman. He looks so ugly. The official Reese, like the Wikipedia word for Reese, he is
sorry,
ugly.
It's a voice.
It's not cute.
That killed me a little bit.
I know.
Okay. Sorry. Moving on. Okay, so
Sarah's
then we have Elaine.
She's desolate.
We have Elaine. Elaine is her sister. Elaine is her middle sister. Like we said, she's Primrose. Moving on. Nesta is a queen. She's a bitch. We stan.
Yeah.
I really appreciated like Nesta at the end. She's like, I fucking knew. Like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I know what happened to you.
Well, it's not that she's not stupid. It's that the glamour didn't work on her, which will become a thing later.
Nesta is an ungrateful bitch, and I love her.
She is very ungrateful.
And then we have Dad. Dad is a cripple. He's a cripple and a coward.
Dad had his knees busted for owing a bunch of money to people.
Yeah,
gangster style.
I mean,
and then we'll get to the rest when we get there.
It's not entirely his fault if I listened correctly.
It's not.
It sounds like
it's not his fault.
Inherited debt.
Otto, come on.
Also, this is not a spoiler. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
It is.
Tamlin is the Beast.
Well, I was thinking we could get to Tampon when we get to Tampon.
Well, like we go over characters. Tamlin, I finally Googled what the Beast is supposed to look like. So it's supposed to be like kind of a kidder cat thing. Because
I thought he's like cat, wolf, bear, antler thing.
So all the drawings I saw were like, and here's why I'm like, girl, if you're gonna do this, have official artwork. Kind of like a kitty cat thing with like antlers. I don't know.
Yeah, he has antlers, I know, and he's also described as bear-like.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. Last time
He is a horse-sized beast with a bear-like body and a head of a wolf. But you're right. All the art looks like a fucking cat with antelope antlers.
Yeah, last time I just imagined him as a wolf, and this time I was
Yeah.
like more tuned in, and I heard antlers, and I went antlers.
I feel like, look, if you're going to have such unique / mishmash stuff described in your book, I feel like you should pay an artist to do a thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, just it's easy, dude.
Help.
I do appreciate her website. Her website does have a map of everywhere, and I appreciate.
Yeah, isn't that nice? It's just the
I like maps.
but that's okay.
I like the maps.
We do like maps. Maps are helpful. And then
I just found Christian just on the back porch with his headphones on, sitting in a chair, staring out at the grass. Because I went into the living room to grab myself another drink, and I was like, "Where is my husband?" I'm very confused, and
there he is.
He's just on the back porch in a chair with headphones on, staring at grass.
You know what?
Do we ever? Question. Do we ever visit France?
Like 80% of my husband's time.
No.
We never go to France?
No.
Okay.
Hang on.
Well,
Let me
you're
see
right.
See what in universe
literally is the British Isles.
It's just, yeah. Well, but then also there's like all of France. Also, I love that the wall.
I have to see what it's called.
Fairy realms.
Extras. Map of Actor.
Valahan.
Oh yeah, no. That's where no, actually I have no idea what that is. But no. Because I thought Highburn was the stuff on the right.
No. It's the evil
island.
place. The evil place is Ireland.
Yes, it is.
Which is
I mean
interesting
a little
choice.
bit different.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry. As a historian, that's an interesting choice.
I mean, to be fair, she does spend a decent amount of time in Wales, this book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wales and southern England.
Also, the divisions are interesting, and I am disappointed that Rhys doesn't have a disgusting Scottish accent. After seeing this map, because I hadn't seen this map before rereading this, I really wanted Rhys to have an just incomprehensible Scottish accent. And I was upset.
You know what is actually really confusing me? Paying like close attention to like these borders, the border between winter and autumn. It's going.
Yeah.
This is not how we do boundary. Like
the boundaries are. The boundaries are a little.
You find a natural, unless it's flat.
Hold on, let me share. I'm not sharing.
You go to the edge of the mountains or something. Like you don't go through the mountains. You go around the mountains.
It's weird. The boundaries are super augmented.
These are the. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The boundaries are
Look, that border is going through the mountains between autumn and winter.
Yeah.
Well, also just the summer and autumn court and then the spring court and summer. Like most of these boundaries are kind of silly. Like,
yeah, at least the rest of them appear to be going over flat.
I did not realize Valaris and the Court of Nightmares were so far apart.
Right?
I also didn't realize that the Night Court just takes up literally everything.
It's just Scotland.
I was going to say that does actually sound like a lot like Scotland though, because like it's like Scotland, it's like Canada, where it's like just freaking huge, but like you can't live anywhere.
Well, people live in the Illyrian Mountains.
Yeah.
Which the north is not going to make much sense to you, Mara. Obviously, you'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
I do appreciate.
This is kind of dumb, but like in my head, the winter court and the
that term in general.
The winter court and the night court were closer together in my head. I was like,
well, yeah, because the night court it has seasons, but like it's cold.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
I think it's just because they wanted to separate the solar courts from the seasonal courts.
It's fine. So,
anyways,
I do have a question. Does is there like difference in stuff between the solar and the seasonal?
What do you mean?
Well, like,
Are you asking
for
like,
example,
is it always day in the day court?
I guess.
No.
Or is there like a magical reason why like 4 of them are seasonal and then 3 of them are?
No, the way that Reese explains it is that not even the High Lords are powerful enough to stop the day-night cycle, but so the day in the day court would just be more beautiful than the night. So like the night court, the nighttime is like, shit your pants, beautiful.
Well, then the Dawn Court are getting
poor
fucked
Dawn
over
Court. Yeah, they just
they
get
like an hour of pretty.
Yeah.
They get like an hour at most.
Yeah, so it's not really like fully explained.
And we don't really spend any time in the day or the dawn court. Like
we go. Obviously we go to the night court, spring court, summer court, autumn court. I think that's everywhere we go. I don't think
we don't spend that much time in the autumn court either.
No, we like literally pop in at the border, say hi, and then leave a few times.
Yeah.
I'm putting something in the side that is completely off topic, but you just have to check it out later.
Lucian I love him. I love him so dearly. Hashtag justice for Lucian. Oh my god. Okay, I will.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I was cackling for hours.
So he has one eye. He lost a great love a long time ago that once we actually get there, I'll tell the story. But he's from the Autumn Court. He's the last son of the Autumn Court. He's Tamlin's best friend.
Yeah, he's got, can he see out of his eye?
Yes.
Like he
can see out of the metal eye. Yes.
So.
Yes, it is enhanced vision, so he can like zoom in.
So it's like a Mad Eye Moody Eye.
Yes, it is.
But
it's just like a solid mental.
It's awful. Yeah. No,
like,
he's the pictures, I couldn't quite picture it until I looked at fan art.
Yeah, Lucian, I love him. Oh my gosh. Because it's my poor boy.
Like, I mean, it's not badly described. It's just awkward to try and picture it until you actually see it.
Yeah, and even like most of the fan art's not very.
But at least I can form a mental picture of what that eye would.
Yeah.
Look like.
Because a lot of the good fan art of him, he looks like an actual child. But. And he looks, in my head, he looks very specific.
There is some awful.
It's because hashtag justice for Lucian.
I mean, I will say
Lucian gets shat on all the time.
Well, I feel like a lot of all the fandoms, I feel like they'll have some pretty atrocious fan art. But some of his are just really bad.
Most of his are not good. It's been a long time, and I can't find my favorite one of him.
I'm putting a link in the side because he wants you to draw him like one of your French girls.
Oh no!
Oh god!
Ew, that one's not good. The masks. Oh yeah, Lucian and Tamlin and everyone else who lives in Spring Court are forced to wear masks because of a thing that I'll talk about later.
Yeah, because it's not the reason we think.
Yeah, no.
I would be pissed. I would be pissed by the end of that. Yeah. I'm like, I've been wearing this mask for months.
49 years.
Mm-hmm.
Were they actually wearing him for 49 years? I thought they only put him once you got there.
49
years. 49 years thing was the cover story.
No. 49 years.
Even when they weren't actively trying to get someone.
Yes.
They were still wearing them.
Yes.
Hello, Carby. Someone really is a dick. Like, why?
Yeah, is it
just in case a human happened to stumble in and just like be like, and then
Amaranth is a bitch. I don't know what else to tell you. Amaranth is a vengeful hoe.
Wasn't the mask thing his choice?
No, it was a masquerade ball, and then she cursed them at the masquerade ball.
Yeah.
I thought that them being forced to wear the masks was part of the cover story.
No.
Like they actually.
That was like the beast curse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, each High Lord has their own major power. Tamlin's is he can transform into a beast, which is
into like a
discussion
jackalope.
earlier. Yeah, I know, weird.
It helps if you just
It's
think of him as
giant.
like a cutesy little jackrabbit.
That's the size of a horse. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
chapter 1.
You don't have to respect Tamlin. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I could actually. I don't know.
Okay, chapter 1. Feyre like shoots a wolf. Whatever.
She shoots a Springcourt Fae. She sees a giant wolf. She's like, "That's a Fae." She shoots it. She skins it, and then she also kills a deer and takes it home. And we get some exposition.
Yeah, we get some exposition about like the world. Like, oh, there's like a wall, and like there's fairies, but like not anymore. But like, oh gosh, it's like really scary, and like whatever. And also, she's poor. And
yeah, very poor.
Some exposition later. Fee fi fo fum, I'm upset. A Fae was killed. Come with me.
Well, she knows a Fae was killed. She knows she killed a Fae.
She doesn't.
Yes, she does.
Well, she doesn't.
Yeah,
no, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't.
She sees it and she's like, yeah, she sees it and she's like, that's a Fae.
She thinks it's a well, she wonders if she wonders if it's a Fae,
like,
but she's not 100%
when she actually does like
sure.
the second, but when she does the second thing, she's like, this wolf is definitely not acting wolfy. Like,
yeah,
I think she
like she knows.
I don't think she had the conscious thought, but like she knew, but she didn't think the words that this.
I know that she thought it was a Fae. I know she did. There's no way. So from what I remember, yeah, she has the thought of like, oh, this must be a Fae wolf. It's way too big to be.
She has the thought, but she's like I said, she's just not 100% sure until she's 100% sure when like Tamlin shows up.
Like,
because what the point is that she doesn't like the major point is that she doesn't care whether or not it's a Fae. She's like either it's a wolf and I need to kill it so that I can eat, or it's a Fae and I should kill it anyway.
Because it's a Fae.
Because it's a Fae.
And she wanted to skin it to sell the hide. Yeah. And this will matter to neither of you, but there is a Throne of Glass reference at the beginning of chapter 2. They have a language called word marks, and they mention word marks in the beginning of chapter 2, and they don't work in this universe. Isn't that interesting? Again, neither of y'all care, but I
don't know what that means.
Okay. Just while I'm thinking of it though, can we just take a second to appreciate the fact that we finally have a fantasy protagonist who can't read?
And it's a whole thing. Oh, Mara, wait till the next book. Oh,
yeah,
no, but like, you know how like half the time, like, I mean, I know she had her quirk in, because they always have to have like their one quirk that they're like exceptionally amazing at or good at or great at or whatever, and hers is painting or whatever.
No, but actually, I'll get there. I'll get there later.
Well, at least this book. We're talking this book, okay? Fine.
No, it's not. It's including this book. Apparently, Farrah's not a good painter. Apparently, it's canon that she actually like sucks at painting, which I love.
That's amazing. That's amazing, then. Okay, but like in a lot of them, right? Like for example, in Lux, I know you haven't read Lux, Addie, but like she that's what she does. She's a book blogger, and then in this isn't fantasy, but in Haunting Adeline, she's an author. Like you know, like there's often like I love books, and even if it's not like her main thing, they still love books. And I just appreciated that we got one where she's just like, not only do I not like books, I can't fucking read. I can't do it.
Do you want to know Nesta's favorite hobby?
Reading
romance novels. So it's really funny you mentioned that because she reads a lot of romance novels in the final book.
Also, though, can we just talk about this poor neglected protagonist though? Like she can't read because by the time they got to her mother was just like, "No, I can't be bothered to teach you."
I think so. I don't remember if the other two know how to read before.
No, they do.
They do?
Yeah, because she even says like she never learned how to read because by the time she came around, her mother didn't trust the schools or something. She couldn't be bothered to teach her, and then she was too sick, and then her sisters were like, why the fuck would we teach you how to read? And so she just never learned. Because no one cared enough to teach her.
Poor Farrah.
And everyone else in the house can read.
I know, and then there's just Farrah, who's like, I'm 19 and I never learned how to fucking read. Like, so
And I appreciate
home,
it. Poor
she gets
girl.
home and describes her, her sisters, her father, like their dynamic about how they're poor and all this stuff. And
How
she's
they
the
got
only
to
one.
poor.
She's the only one that goes out, that they would starve without her, essentially. Her mom was mean. Someone wants to propose to Nesta, and then we find out that her mom made her promise to keep the family together. And like Mara said earlier, this bitch was like 5 when her mother died. And her mom is like, Farrah, darling, you have to keep the family together. And she's 5 years old. So she feels a responsibility to her family.
I feel like she's the least favorite child.
I know.
Well, yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Which is meant to be. It's usually the middle one, but
yeah,
no, this one is the youngest.
Yeah, like Cassie, you guys, cats are not doing the right move to sit on me. Okay, next chapter we go to the market and there's people that worship the High Fae. It's just establishing that High Fae exist, essentially, and like that humans do worship them for some reason. She sells the pelts to a mercenary, and then the mercenary's like, hey, the Fae and Prithian, which is what the land is called up north, are planning something. Hello. Anyway,
Kitty cat.
We see her boyfriend, Isaac. She has a boyfriend named Isaac, just to establish that she's not a virgin.
Yeah,
I think the only function of Isaac.
I was gonna say as well, I did have this thought like about 2 minutes ago. I did also appreciate the fact that they didn't make her
they didn't make her a virgin who can't read. They just made her a normal person a non-virgin that knows how to not read.
Yeah. She's not the timid virgin, and she's not overly promiscuous, which is usually one or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just like, hey, look, there's a guy that I guess I sleep with occasionally.
Yeah, who is about to get engaged to another lady.
Yeah.
But chapter 4.
How long has she gone for, by the way?
For the first time, she's gone for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, I know she's gone for about like 3-ish, isn't it?
She's under the mountain for 3 months. Yes.
Yeah.
And then between books, there's 3 months. So the good rule of thumb with Sarah is that it typically every chunk of time is about 3 months. We're speaking in chunks. Because even in the next book, she sends 3 months away. It's all Tamlin comes in beast form and is like, "Grr, you killed one of my people."
Also, he like fully chats in beast form. It's weird.
Oh yeah, like fully, and the voice that the narrator did was. Oh, it was
a voice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it though. How else?
So I didn't listen to the
have that reaction,
version.
but also I did, in the narrator's defense, at least for the just normal audiobook or whatever.
Yeah, I
don't know how else she could have done it.
I don't either. Like,
there's no good way to do it. Like,
there's not.
I mean, she did what she could.
Yeah. So he's like, you have to I either kill you or you move to Prithian for the rest of your days per this agreement, this nondescript agreement between humans and High Fae, or just normal Fae.
And
so she
Farrah having a good point for like, very rarely does she have good points, but she had a good point here. She was like, I didn't fucking agree to that.
Yeah, she's like, I went to school for like 2 days. I would remember that. I can't read, but I would remember that.
She was like, that has nothing to do with me. There has to be like something else I can do.
Because backstory for the world that at least is told in this book. I don't know if there's more, but like 500 years ago there was a war, and then a treaty was made up between the Fae and humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, Farrah's like, look, I know I can't read, but does somebody have this written down somewhere?
Yeah, like, can you
maybe one of my sisters will care enough to read it to me.
Yeah, and her sisters and father say nothing.
Oh yeah, they don't give a
They say nothing as she's getting dragged away.
That's not.
No, father says something. Father says
her father
go
says
and
something.
never come back.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Her father
says fuck right off.
But also, it's not quite true. So Elaine does nothing. Nesta has herself between Elaine and everybody else.
Yeah, she's protecting Elaine, but not her.
Nesta's protecting Elaine, and Nesta's like, well,
she's
good
like,
luck,
bye.
Farrah. Bye.
Get out.
You know
No one
what?
likes you. You're illiterate.
I do understand where I've read the dad's thing though of like go and don't come back.
Yeah.
Not as a fuck off, but as a please, I don't want you to die.
Yeah, and it's also like he also very much understands that she's the only reason that they've lived, and he's really let his family down. And
yeah. I feel like if
he's like, go be free.
Yeah. And I feel like there was a chance that if Tamlin didn't fix like their life, maybe he would have stepped up.
Maybe.
Yeah, you know, so
Tamlin does fix their life.
This gets confirmed later, but like because Tamlin is yoinking their only source of food, Tamlin does magically just kind of fix everything for them so that because it's only supposed to be like a life
their
for
lost
life.
Ships come back and
yeah, the ships that were lost come back with interest. Yeah. So as they travel, we get that 500 years ago there was a blah 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 blah, and then I don't think it's here, but we do find out Tamlin is 500-ish years old. He was not old enough to fight in the war, but he was a child in the war. So that is also the thing. Everyone that you meet in this book is like 500 plus years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tamlin is 507.
There you go. So we
Are
get
the age gaps something I'm supposed to find problematic about this book?
I know, right?
Can we, you know what? When it comes to like immortal beings or whatever, from now on, like let's just make a general rule. Like I don't care about your age gap issues. Okay, I don't care. Not you.
I don't.
Just in general.
Yeah, right.
Like in Twilight, I don't care. I don't care. In Mercy, I don't care. In Buffy,
well, their age gap is only like 20
I don't
years.
Care. I know
because it's like 2004.
But like
it's still 2004 and like Mercy.
I know, but like with Samuel though, like he's ancient.
No,
and, like,
the
only reason I care about that age gap is because it actually does bring baggage into the relationship, and also,
yeah, she was a child.
She was a child. There is a difference there. However, at the same time, though, she was like 15, 16, where in Buffy, for example, because I know this isn't a book, but it's a show, and people bring up the Angel Buffy age gap a lot. I didn't care about it. I don't care that Angel is like 250 years old and Buffy.
See,
I care about it in Mercy because like it's very clear that he groomed her from the time that she was like a child. And
that's the thing. If the person knows them under the age of 10, or no, under the age of 18, if the person knows them at all under the age of 18, it's weird. If the age gap
we'll go under the age of 16 because a lot of YA characters are 16, so we'll go under 16.
So, and then if the age gap is like less than 100 years, I have to be convinced. If it's over 100 years, I'll give a shit. Who cares?
And then using the Twilight example, when that person is mentally and emotionally stunted at 17, he could be 1,000 years old. I don't care.
I don't care because he's
mentally stunted at 17.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so chapter 4.
So, I don't care about 6. The 500.
We need to.
We're at the spring court. It's pretty high. We see Tamlin. I actually wrote him down as tampon in my notes, so that's why this is going to be hard.
So I take it he turns into a douchebag.
Yes.
You know what? I have to say,
reading like a lot of the wiki stuff. I've just like mainly like looked at ages and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. Don't try to read too much.
I gotta say, I don't like how Tamlin's handled in like later books.
Well, as far as where I'm at, it's set up pretty nicely, I will say.
I don't know. I'll see how I feel.
Yeah, you have to
upon second read. I don't know.
Because I'm making notes of every time they foreshadow what happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot of foreshadowing.
Okay, as well.
Where I'm at now,
the things that are foreshadowed occurred. You will have to go back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Where I'm at after having read this book, I'm still like, I don't know. Anyway,
I have taken notes of it. Then so they do dinner. We meet Lucian too. Hi, Lucian. We get to know each other. They talk to her about
Lucian
love.
Is also one of the only Fae, I think, in this book that was not alive during the war, so he's less than 500 years old.
Yes, yeah, he was, because
he's one of the youngest. Yeah.
Yeah. They question her about her love life at home because that's a great way to get to know someone. They
And
talk
she's
about
like, "Are you
masks.
fucking with me?"
They're like, oh yeah, we have these weird masks on. It's because of the sickness, the blight that's going through our land, and it's gonna hit the human lands too eventually. Yeah.
Sorry. I just remembered when they tell her that there's always been more people there, but they've just been glamored.
Yeah. So as far as she knows, there's only like 3 people in this castle. It's Alice, her lady's maid, Lucian, and Tamlin. That's it.
And
That's
that's
all she
it.
thinks are there. That's just important to know for right now.
That's right.
Yeah. So chapter 9, I skip a few because it's just establishing
You know what? And
We're just-
with how this book ends, I'm sorry, I need to just while we're on this. With how this book ends, like with her becoming a fae, so she's now immortal. I know how my brain works, right? Like, I messed up last week. Last week, my daughter had a birthday party to go to. I thought it started at 12, it finished at 12, so we got there at 12. Luckily, it was at Flip Out, and everyone was still jumping around. She still got to jump around at Flip Out for about 45 minutes.
Good.
And it was fine. But like, I know though, in like 50 years, that's still gonna just randomly pop into my head, and I'm gonna, because also like, because she was doing like this stiff upper lip, like it's okay with just one tear coming down.
Little daughter.
and I know that that's just going to randomly pop in. You know that the mortification, because the thing that, like, the instance that she thinks of when she finds out that there's always been more people there, like, was her sneaking out, and just in my head she was like doing like the little cartoon cat burger
And there's just a bunch of
like,
people
the
like
arms up like this. And you know that in like 1,000
like she's humming.
years,
She doesn't know how she knows it, but she's humming the Mission Impossible theme.
yes.
She's like,
And yes, in 1,000 years she's gonna be like, fuck, that was embarrassing.
yeah.
And she's gonna, like, it's gonna keep her up at night still. There's still gonna be nights where she's just about to fall asleep, and it's gonna
The
just pop
floors
back
are
into her
all
head.
marble. Yeah, the floors are all marble, but somehow there's like a wooden plank that went "Ee," and she went and like the
Yep.
and like the camera zoomed in. There wasn't a camera, but there was, and but like, and she felt pretty
Yes.
badass about it. Like, and she was like, yay me. And then she's like, but there were like 50
Meanwhile,
people
there's
watching me.
literally
Yeah, and
a
like they're all
fully
just like
staffed
awkwardly
castle.
like
Yes. Yeah.
One thing I would
That's the worst.
one
Or
thing I
like
would
the
love-
one
I
time you're
don't-
just sitting there in the hallway talking to yourself out loud.
Oh, and the whole staff is just like, the fuck is this human doing?
Do you think they step out of her way, like when they see it coming, or or can she just pass through them and they
Probably
just don't
pass
care?
through them.
But do you think for their own comfort they step out of her way?
Probably.
Probably.
She's a human. They don't like humans.
Also, I imagine even if you like the person, you probably don't want them walking through.
Do you think one was assigned to her like an FBI agent?
Definitely.
Just always
100%. I love that. Yes.
She's got like Secret Service following her around at all
Yes.
times.
Literally secret because
Just
she
like
can't see it.
what does she talk to herself about? And it's like, well, how
I
long
would
does it take?
like-
and it's like the same stuff we
And
think
it's,
about,
it's definitely Lucian that put the FBI agent on her. Like,
Yeah,
Tamlin
and
doesn't
it's-
give a shit. It's
and
Lucian
yeah.
being like, I don't trust her.
Yeah, Lucian being like, I don't trust her, and it's like, okay, so what
Oh,
happened today? And it's like she was
that's
talking
how
out
he
loud.
knows.
It's like she was
This
talking out
tracks.
loud, like, I wonder how long it takes for bodies to decay, like in an ocean versus like when
Well,
it's cold, or
so
like
the
did
next-
Vikings wear socks? Do you think
That
Like-
also makes sense, like why they have had like the conveniently timed, also she can eavesdrop conversations around her, like about the like
Yeah,
Heart of Stone or whatever.
They
Because
can be
they
like,
probably got like
Sarah's
Chinese
comments.
whispers, like she's coming, and they're like, okay, let's have our chat.
yeah.
Like,
And also there were
But-
times where like Lucian or Tamlin would just be like, "Oh, you mean this?"
well, it also makes sense for this next plot point where she's been planning to like talk to Lucian to help like make him help her get out of this situation, and he's like, so you I'm surprised it took you this long to like approach me because I knew you were going to try this. And she's like, how'd you know that? And now we know it's the FBI agents.
Yeah,
But they go on a hunt. he lets it slip that a her was responsible for the blight. He also mentions the cereal, which will become a major character throughout the series. So hope you love them. I love the cereals. I think that they're super fun. They're fae that if you trap, you can ask them questions and they have like omniscient knowledge essentially. Then Lucian is like, be still, straight ahead. And it's this thing called the bog. It's just establishing that there's weird monsters that we don't have in our lives. So she goes back up to her room that night, and then she sees her dad, or who she thinks is her dad, creeping around the garden.
Yep.
She runs after him. Yeah, he's like... So she does, because she's like, oh my gosh, my crippled dad came here to save me, and it's not. Tamlin, I combined
Tamlin. Yeah, Tamlin runs out to save her.
Yeah, Tamlin's like, Farrah, darling. Yeah, I told you not to trust what you see. She tells him about the promise to her mother and is like, I gotta go.
And then it also explains how he found her as well, because like her Secret Service agent was like, hey,
hey, your idiot is running outside.
And he's like, I told you I took care of your family. Like, they're living in... Oh, also, it's important. She thinks Faye can't lie. That's an important thing right now. Because that's like the rumor.
She just like... Well, and that's common Fae lore in general. So, like, I wasn't... Like, I bought it because I was like, yeah, you know, like, obviously, Fae can't lie. That's the law. What the fuck is that? Sorry, keep going.
Anyways, he's like, you fulfilled the promise. Your family is together. They're rich and happy now. Trust me, I made it happen. And she finally believes him. He starts avoiding her and hunts the bog. She one night is adventuring around the castle. This is when we learn the bitch can't read. Oh God, what did you? Oh, yeah. Lucian, my boy. See, justice for Lucian, guys. Justice for Lucian. They make him so ugly all the time. Tamlin comes back in the middle of the night and is like, oh, are you making a map? And she's like, oh, you're hurt. Let's fix. And he's like, I killed the bog and his hand is injured. So, you know, obligatory nursing back to health scene. And then later she overhears a talk between Lucian and Tamlin about how dire their situation is. Now she's on a ride with him. He tells her about what she overheard. And yeah. He takes her then to the study. He's giving her the opportunity to learn how to write, but he does not know that she's fully illiterate. He just thinks she can't write. She finds a mural that gives us a wonderful lore dump. So it starts with the cauldron. The cauldron is a character in and of itself. It is the deity of this universe. Like when they say, oh God, they say, oh cauldron. And it also is literally a character.
Literally a cauldron.
So the cauldron is Nyx.
Yes, the cauldron is Nyx.
I hope.
But also there is a character named Nyx later in the series. So
I don't want to talk about it.
I love the character named Nyx though. I love him. He's so precious.
Oh, it's a boy, is it?
It's a boy.
Yay.
I don't.
Do you not like the circumstances?
What?
We had this conversation. I thought you liked that Nyx exists because of the non-representation of a certain thing in book series.
No, but the
fact that it's
way it's done, the way it's done in this series is why everybody hates it.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, so
I guess we'll discuss that more when I know what we're talking about.
Silver Flames. Yes, it's the last book. It shows how
you're gonna lose your fucking shit.
Yeah. Okay. It shows how the map has changed over the centuries and how a small bit of the land was given to the humans, and the rest is Prythian, which is the Fey lands. She looks at the night court and the hairs on her arm rise, whatever. She gets very excited looking at the night court. Tamlin comes in and is like, I'll help you write. And she's like, nope, She just hears Nesta's insults in her mind, and so she seeks out Lucian. And she's like, "Hey, Lucian, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. How do I catch a cereal?" That is good, Lucian. I like that, Lucian. She's like, "How do I catch a cereal?" And he's like, "You're a dumbass, but okay, I'll tell you exactly how to do it." So he does. So she catches it.
That he does.
Yeah, it's funny because he's like, "Well, if someone were stupid enough to do it, this is how I would do it."
How hilariously chaotic he is in this book.
Love him so much. So she does it. She catches a cereal, learns that she can't go home. Tamlin is a High Lord, which means he's like president of cereal.
I keep hearing cereal. Yeah, that's okay. It's like that.
It's Suriel is cereal, but yeah.
Yeah, learns that he's because she was like, so he's clearly like kind of. She
important.
was like, he's like, a guy, but like not like
she didn't know he was the High Lord.
And then she's like, shit.
And then the cereal tells her to stay with the High Lord.
I don't know if it's because I'm reading it, so because the reader usually has more knowledge than the protagonist. Even just based on just our own assumptions, because this is how stories work. But why the fuck did she think they were living in like a castle if he wasn't boss man?
I know.
Well, I mean,
literally in a castle.
I think she assumed like that he was
high up.
She assumed he was like a lord, but I think it was because, if I'm recalling correctly, about like what her inner monologue was, that there were so few people and stuff like that she was like, surely if it's like a High Lord, we're gonna be.
He would have a staff.
She's like, this is a nice estate and stuff like that, but like, it's not just gonna be like Alice,
It's not gonna
a High Lord's not gonna have like Alice and Lucian. That would be ridiculous.
That actually does make sense. And once again, little did she know.
It's just like we as the reader are like, obviously it's the High Lord because like who the fuck else would it be?
Well, I can't remember if I was thinking like, oh, obviously it's the High Lord, because I don't know if we'd had that term introduced to us within the book yet. Like, but I obviously figured he was like boss man or something.
Yeah, like but the cereal keeps saying, "Stay with the High Lord," without naming who the High Lord is. Anyways, and then she warns that Hybern is coming. Which Hybern, I think that he has like the guy.
I'll be back.
You're good. Mm-hmm. I think that the guy has like a legit name. I don't think I've always just called him Hybern. It's the king of Hybern.
Does he have a different name?
I don't know. I just call him Hybern. And I feel like
Hybern was a place and also the guy.
Yeah, I think so. And that Hybern is coming, which Hybern is a high fae from he's from Ireland. She frees the cereal because Naga are here. Woo!
Yeah.
Fighting ensues. Tampon shows up, saves her. They go home. We get some more lore here, where if babies are high fae, they age slow. That's it. And everyone knows about the cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows because they're like, "I can't believe you had the gonads to do that." And she's like, "What?" And she finds out finally that fae can lie. Iron doesn't hurt them. Nothing that they thought was real is real. He also, when she was practicing writing earlier, like she wrote down a bunch of like words she didn't know and threw them in the trash. He took them and he starts reading them aloud, and she gets really embarrassed and leaves. And he's like,
you know what? That actually read worse than I remembered it reading the first time.
Yeah.
Like it's the first time,
because it's like words like murder and like stabbing. And like
the first time I remembered it being like, oh, she's embarrassed, and that's kind of sad. And like this time I was like, is Tamlin a dick?
See, it's there. So
I was like, I don't actually know how to take this.
Look, I offer him grace in that. I don't know what's coming, but in that. And I'll tell you why. Because
he doesn't know.
I don't think he's being a dick. It wouldn't occur to someone who is like the High Lord who is 500 years old that someone can't read.
Yeah,
like that an adult.
Yeah, I don't think that that's even on his radar. Like not being able to write
So he's probably just reading that going like, why the fuck are you writing all these? Why? Why were you
like
why
these
this
words?
list?
Well, no,
violent
Because she's writing the words down that you can't read
before
to look
he
up how to say them.
before he reads them out loud, those words out loud, he sees her like doing it, and he's like, if you want me to write
Yeah,
for
in that
you,
scene
I'll do it.
earlier. Yeah.
And then later he does, so he knows that, and he doesn't react like, oh, you're an idiot. He's just like, oh,
well, what he
if you
says
can't
is
read,
like, are
that's
you
okay.
trying to? What he says is like, are you trying to write a poem about how you want to murder me? Is what he says. Like he makes a joke about it at dinner when he pulls out the words.
Yeah, but like before that, he's like, if you want to write to your family, by the way,
I'll help you. Yeah,
I'll help you. And then she's like,
Yeah.
go away. And he's like, all right. And then later, yeah.
She finally settled and she's like, get me paint. And he's like, yes, ma'am. She sees a fae die. It's a whole thing. It's a random thing.
I also did just like, I'm not gonna lie, I did Google just like Feyre painting. And yeah, people like looked with the speed at which she produces these paintings, there's no way that they are
well, like
any good, because she's painting like 10 paintings a day.
Like it's apparently canon that Farrah is a bad painter, and I did not know this was a thing, but I found it on TikTok, and then there's a ton of like evidence behind that Farrah is a bad painter. And I love it. I love it.
That is like the happiest Easter egg so far,
right?
Which is kind of, I mean, it's kind of cute, honestly.
Yeah, that she's bad at it, but she gives everyone paintings for gifts. Everyone, and they're all like, "Oh my God, Farrah, thank you so much. I love it." And I can't help but think that they like Cassian goes.
It's like when my children
it's like
draw me
this
a
fucking shit. Yeah.
Actually, give me 1 second. Now this is forever how I'm gonna picture it. Give me 1 sec.
Tamlin and Lucian and her go on a horse ride. They're bonding, and Tamlin takes her to a pond of starlight, and she loves it.
You have something to say.
The foreshadowing is so bad. It is so in your face. We learn that Lucian is the youngest of 7 Autumn Court sons. He fell in love with a woman whose father, quote unquote, Tamlin's words, put down.
If you don't know, Autumn is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
If you don't know, Autumn is my favorite season, and it was at this point in my first read of this that I was like, "Oh, we could have been in autumn this whole time." I was so mad. I was like, "Why are we stuck in spring?"
Helps, I think.
Speaking of being in autumn, I'm currently in autumn.
Yeah.
And the leaves
Eris
are finally starting to fall, so we're starting to get all the orange and red and yellow, and
it is so unfair that my birthday is in fall. The southern hemisphere.
Well, you're another very important date will be in fall.
That's true.
But
1 year though, feel free. Like you are free to come here for a birthday 1 year, so you can have an autumnal birthday.
Hashtag justice for Lucian. 2 of his brothers were killed by Lucian and Tamlin, so there's only 5 Autumn Court brothers. One of them's named Eris. He's a major character later on.
Yeah, I just imagine them all as clones of each other.
They are. I think that they legitimately are.
Yeah.
So they go swim. There's sexual tension. And then later, her and Lucian have a friendly bonding sesh.
Mm-hmm.
And then she starts painting in the gallery. Oh, I have my note here. Talk about the theory that Farrah is a really bad painter. I have. Weeks pass. She realizes after weeks pass, she has not thought about her family, and she's mad because she's like, I let them erase me from their minds. And she's like, you're right, they didn't give a shit about me. And then he kisses her cheek and is like, one day when you're safe, I'll give you all the answers. I wrote that down because of the when you're safe. Because remember his whole thing in the next book? It's when you're safe, Farrah. When you're safe, Farrah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
That's why I wrote this shit down. Later, he gets stuck in a trap. He wrote her poems using the words she didn't know. And then I wrote down, oh my God, we meet Rhys soon. Because we get to meet Rhys. I love him. It's a few days until Fire Night, and he's like, you're not invited.
Yeah.
And she's like, but why not? You can't keep me inside. And he's like, just trust me, bitch. And for this and this alone, Tamlin's right. She should not have gone. But it's Fire
and this
Night
actually, like,
Day.
considering what happens in the next book, this is actually pretty smart to have Tamlin be right about something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's smart to have him be correct.
Look, when we were going through the thing where she was being drawn there, which makes sense. It's Fae music, right? And Fae music does a thing. I feel like he should have thought of this, though. Like, I feel like I don't think she was being a dumb bitch.
No. I don't either.
Well, then also, like, he wouldn't tell her. He wouldn't tell her why she couldn't go. He would just be like, "Listen, don't go." Like,
yeah, because he could have just said, like, because also, given what we know about Pharaoh,
if you go, I will violently rape you, and it won't be good.
Yeah, like, just tell her that.
He could have said that. He could have said, and also given what we know about Pharaoh before this, actually,
don't go. You're gonna meet the love of your life.
Well, no, but what he could have said was like, the fairy music is going to entrance you, and you will have like no control over what happens. Pharaoh would have locked herself the fuck in her room.
Yeah,
yes,
but also exactly. I think she also would have had the mental willpower to resist, like, or at least more mental willpower to try and resist, because she would have known that she was being entranced.
Because she was told not to go. And wasn't told why. She was already curious, which I feel like actually kind of primed her to go and like made her more susceptible to the magic, I guess.
That's how it always goes in these books, though, right? Like you got your protagonist who's the weak little human with her super powerful boyfriend or whatever.
I also have.
I'm going to tell you not to do a thing, and I'm not going to tell you why, but it's a super secret, cool, fun thing that you can't be involved in. And she's always wants to know, and it's usually her being a dumb bitch.
And they never tell her.
Rereading this, it doesn't come off like she's being dumb.
No,
it races in trance because she's like, the music was pulling me, the drum beat was calling me.
I saw a TikTok that was saying like all Feyre does is break like super simple rules, and I'm like, I don't feel like that. That's not this.
Because
at all.
Like in book 2,
I'll see if I can find it, but it does. I'll see if I can find it. Like, I know you're in agreement, but it does describe the drums calling her or something to that extent.
Yeah, it does.
It reads as entranced, and all Tamlin had to do was just tell her why.
Yeah,
because the why would have freaked her out enough to like.
For her to actually try.
She would have handcuffed her. She would have invented handcuffs and thrown the key over the wall. Okay.
The first mention of the drums is the drum beats came from far away beyond the garden, past the game park, and into the forest that lay beyond. They were deep, probing, a single beat echoed by 2 responding calls, summoning.
Yeah, it's drawing her in.
She refers to the pulse of the drums, blah blah blah, the incessant drumming calling me, blah blah blah. Like,
so she goes.
It's not her fault.
And she's like, "This is a normal party. I'm confused as to why Tamlin didn't want me here." Then some guys start being creepy, and then
Goth Daddy appears.
There you are. I've been looking for you. And she looked at him and she's like, I looked over to see the most beautiful man I had ever seen. And that's when we all knew, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question, because like, I know that he's endgame, right? So it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
We're not spoiling anything. Because he does a lot of things in this book that is like, you know, protective and stuff, and you think that he's doing it to mess with Tamlin or whatever, but like also though he's doing stuff he doesn't need to do. That doesn't affect Tamlin in any way or whatever. Like this, for example, he rescues her. He could have just been like, okay, and let whatever happened, or do a thing himself or whatever. Was it out of curiosity, or was it for some other reason, or was he actually like into it from the get-go?
I know the answer.
Do we know?
You will know the answer. I'm not going to answer the question.
It's not that. That hasn't locked in yet. That doesn't appear until she's Fae.
Okay.
He was drawn to her. He was drawn to her from the get. He was drawn to her for sure, but I don't think it's anything beyond that.
So just curiosity at this point?
Yeah, just curiosity at this point, because I know what you're referencing, and I can tell you the exact moment that's a thing. I have the exact moment written down. That becomes a thing, because you can tell exactly when it happens. It's not till the very, 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 very end of the book.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was like, I thought it was something that could happen with humans. I'm stupid.
No, it can't happen with humans. Okay. He goes to leave, but she just like is like, oh, I got to keep talking to him.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, fair.
And Reese is just written as like pure sexual energy. He at this point is just and
also man. Again, complete cheat codes. If it's a fantasy romance, or if like we're in a fantasy book and like one love interest has blonde hair and one has dark hair.
Endgame. We know who Endgame is. So she eventually leaves, but they have really good banter. And then Lucian shows up and is like, "You crazy."
Yeah, the hair thing. Did you guys see the video I sent you guys? It was my last night, so probably your early hours this morning, I think.
I don't know.
I think it was immediately before the riddle.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes. Hold on.
Because as soon as I saw that, I thought immediately of our recent discussions
of us talking about, can we really think of a high fantasy love interest that's blonde?
And we couldn't.
I can't even really think of a lot of just
like normal ones.
Blonde.
I mean, I can think of contemporary ones, but like that doesn't count.
No.
So
yeah.
Anyways,
so, yeah. But that made me think.
Lucian finally is the one that tells her why she's supposed to stay away, because Tamlin's gonna go beast mode and fuck someone. So
and at that point, Feyre, like,
and she's like, okay, yeah, no, let's go back to my room, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because she's not a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't like about that scene with Lucian as well was like, Lucian's just like, now he's gonna smell you, and I'm gonna have to tell him
to deal with it. Yes.
And I'm gonna have to find him someone else to fuck, and he's like, just made my night a lot less enjoyable. Thank you so much.
Because I was gonna get my dick wet, but now I can't. Because now I have to focus on Tamlin.
And we all hate it when we have to focus on Tamlin.
God, I know. Ugh. I will tell you, Tamlin
at this point, I don't hate it. But that's only because I've only read this book.
Tamlin is not in Silver Flames or Frost and Starlight, but he's in every other book, man. So she goes down to get a snack. English makes sense.
It's like 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah, she goes down to get a snack, and he's like,
I'm not gonna lie, I will say I feel like this was actually the one time where I'm like, you're being a bit of a dum-dum. Because, like, I mean, it's still that night. Like, just stay in your room. Just be hungry until morning.
I know. But she goes down there, and Tamlin is like, I could smell you at the party. And he's like,
he's still half beastie.
And he's like, I wanted to fuck you, but I had to fuck someone else.
Yeah, and then he's like,
I really
didn't want me to be gentle.
She didn't want me to be gentle.
I wouldn't be gentle with you though. Let me bruise you.
Yeah, so he gives her a massive hickey on her neck, and then in this moment, Tamlin's got some energy. Yeah,
I really need you to just. Can you start recording audiobooks, please? And not like that.
I would love to if I wasn't tongue tied. I would do it if I wasn't tongue tied.
You do want to know the best part though is if you get tongue tied, you can just like delete that part of the recording and redo it.
It's true.
It's not live. This is not live TV.
But then Tamlin is in that moment. The only time I find him attractive. When he looks at her and he goes, "Don't disobey me again." Okay, Tamlin. Okay, Tamlin. Okay. I see you.
It's the only time Tamlin's given goth daddy energy.
Only time. Anyways,
we all want goth daddy energy.
So it's been about 3 months now that since she's came here. She gives him a painting, and the painting that she gives him is a pool of starlight.
Are you okay?
Foreshadowing. It slapped you in the face.
How does one draw a pool of starlight? And
You draw a pool with starlight? You draw a pool with some starlight? I don't know.
It's completely black canvas, and you take a paintbrush.
Honestly, it'd be really easy. It's probably Feyre's best painting.
It probably is.
Because you know how like little kids draw stars now that it has been brought to my attention that she's probably like almost definitely a really bad painter. I'm thinking like just a pool with like little like stars.
I love this idea that like Feyre is just a terrible painter, and everybody's going, "Aw,
I'm so glad!
It's so nice."
Oh, you know what? I've just seen I think it's a digital painting, but still, it's still a drawing. Of a pool of starlight, and it may or may not even be them. I don't know. You know, I'm just gonna share my screen. It's fine. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, because I have to Google it.
There? Share screen. Window. Share. Like I feel like
that is them. That is fan.
I'm pretty sure that's them. Yeah.
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 And okay, like there's a way to draw it, I suppose. Yeah. I don't think that's what she did though.
But it's the fact that she gives him a painting of all the things. Could be the gardens, could be literally anything, but that. But he goes around, and she's painted like every moment of her life. And yeah. And then the next day they hang out, and he says, "You're just as I dreamed you to be." Whatever that means.
Agapimo.
Yeah. And now it's Mara's favorite moment, guys. The glamour has dropped on the castle. With that, I have to use the restroom, so I'll be right back.
Okay, no, it's like because she instantly thinks back to when she snuck out. I can't remember where she was sneaking to, but she like when she like thought she was being like all like covert and shit. And in my head, when she's repicturing that moment, I just went to like the cartoon running with like the really high
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, that's all I pictured, and like even like the little like tinkling noises with the feet.
Well, I was also what I immediately thought of was like
bathroom.
Yeah. Also, like I talk to myself all the time when I'm alone.
Yes.
Well, also when I'm not alone, but like when I'm alone, especially, all I do is talk to myself.
Yes.
Out loud.
It would be
loudly.
Mortifying. It would be mortifying. Like how. But like, it's probably the funniest. Like I does it count as a plot twist? It's kind of like a plot.
I would never get over it.
It is to me. It is the funniest reveal I think or one of the funniest reveals I think I've ever read. But that's because I can appreciate just how mortifying it would be because she's been walking around for months at this point. Months of thinking she's alone and she's surrounded by like 100 people
at all times.
Do you reckon that? How many of them are just sitting there watching her paint? Just to be like...
Well, at least her Secret Service.
Because she definitely has a guard that follows her. Because all of them want this curse broken, right? None of them want anything bad to happen to her. Ever. So, like, they are all protecting her, guaranteed, 100% of the time.
Well,
except for the party.
Again, it's just the most humiliating thing. Because, like, it's not that, like, I say, like, bad stuff. I don't know, like, bad stuff. It's just, like, me sitting there talking to myself all the time, out loud, while I'm doing laundry or whatever.
And, like, you know how you think up scenarios in your head and you have a conversation?
Yeah.
Out loud.
Well, yeah, I'm an author.
Yeah,
and you're having an argument with no one. but you're just sitting there arguing out loud.
Yep.
I will talk things out loud when I'm by myself. It would be awful if there were people just following me around. Awful, terrible, I tell you.
Or like practicing a conversation as well that like they then what you have in real life.
And then they were like, ugh. And then they talk to each other about it. They have Feyre Club with Bae.
Oh, for sure. She's the most interesting thing to happen to this place.
Wait, yes, to answer your question, I just saw it, yes. Okay. Do you want the normal?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have the normal.
Okay.
Actually.
Well then, yes. Yes.
So also, this is another establishing shot for the next book. Tamlin keeps leaving out a ton of information and not telling her, and it's really frustrating her. Because it's not necessarily curse information. No, it's not necessarily curse information. It's like just about other courts.
Look, I understand. I understand the curse information being withheld.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I don't know, like, I know that they actually physically can't tell her about
the curse. Yeah,
but it is.
Can they not physically tell her about the curse?
No,
and then,
I don't think so.
And then Alice is only able to because the time is up.
Yeah.
But
okay.
The other courts thing is interesting because Tamlin has said like you can go live anywhere in Prithian, but he won't tell her about
anywhere else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if it frustrates the high hell out of her, and she does express that, she never stops expressing it, and he never stops not telling her things.
It makes sense of why he's not telling her, because it's just like, look, you don't have to stay here, but here is literally the only place that you know, and you already know that half the people here want to eat you.
It is probably partly to keep her there.
Yes.
Oh, Tamlin.
It doesn't feel good though, does it?
No. So then there's a severed head in the garden, and it has the Night Court sigil on its head somewhere. And then they start talking shit about my boys and my girls, and they're like, "Damn, crooked morals," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm gonna shove their crooked morals up your bum holes, because I love the Night Court, and they talk about how like ugly it is up there and stuff like that. But whatever. They start spreading propaganda. So they decide to go to the summer court for a party. Lucian's like, don't drink the wine. She drinks the wine. She's drunk. Dancing ensues. Her and Tamlin make out.
I feel like it's number one rule. Never
drink the Fey wine.
Yes. It's always the number one rule. Don't drink the Fey wine.
No, because your body metabolizes it differently than the Fae do. Yeah. It's always a thing. It's the day after the blight is progressing.
That traps you, depending on the law.
Yeah, and it's killed children. And then the problem himself shows up. Rhysand is here. This is the first time Amarantha is mentioned by name. This is the enigmatic she that keeps being mentioned. She is the high lady, I guess, of all of Prithian. That's how she's the ruler of all Prithian. And they call Lucian calls Rhys Amarantha's whore. And Rhys is full on sassy, full on mean bastard. We stan. And she's like, I would never paint him.
Yeah. Also, you're leaving out the best part of this scene, okay? Because they don't want him to see her, but she can't escape because there's no time. He just rocks up and he's there, and so Lucian pushes her up against a wall
behind a curtain or a chair.
Oh yeah, behind a curtain.
She's behind a curtain.
Is she behind the curtain because she can see him the whole time? I'm pretty sure they've just glamoured her to make her blend into the curtain.
She's a wall.
She's into the curtain.
Yeah, there you go.
So Lucian's just casually leaning up against the wall, but it's not the wall, it's her.
And
she's just there. And she's just there, like peeking out over Lucian's shoulder.
And Reese senses her. Oh, but also she's like, I'll never paint Reese as long as I live or whatever. And at this point, she does not know it yet. She's already painted him. She's painted his wings by this point.
Oh, okay.
She's painted his wings. So that's fun. Reese senses her, and Lucian's like, "This is my finance. Hello," and he's like, "Ew, you boink mortals, how gross." And Reese's main power, he has a few, but the biggest one is he's a mind reader. He can go and invade people's minds, drive them crazy, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So he goes for a swim through a brain,
and that'll be fun later.
Yeah. Tamlin's like, please don't tell Amarantha, and Reese is like, okay, beg on your knees, and maybe I won't tell.
And so then you know what, and it was at this point where I'm like, there is no chance for any sexual attraction to Tamlin, and I'm not gonna lie, Lucian did it too. So you can't.
Lucian's not necessarily ever a love interest.
I know, but
one at least.
Not yet.
Not really.
So, like Elaine, if Elaine's book.
If Elaine decides, but she hates him.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. But then, like, what is she gonna do to Lucian? Like, poor Lucian.
Like, I'm just.
I know.
I don't know.
Look, I love my husband. If I saw him begging on his knees for something, even if it was something like that would save
your life,
I feel like it would still make my ovaries pack up and fuck off forever.
I don't. But Reese is like, "Hello, darling. What's your name?" And so she gives him a fake name, Claire something. And so he winnows away, which means I know what. So he teleports away. It's called winnowing in this universe.
The word winnowing.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Get ready to hear it a million times.
Yeah. Can we just take a second to address that? Like, I know we have previously, like with the fantasy books going out of their way to avoid saying birthday.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole bunch of these different things, like fantasy books going out of their way to avoid saying insert word here. Why can't we just use the words? Like, yeah, I remember you talking about like when you were writing Blackwoods, there were French doors, and you're like, what do we call these? And we're like, let's just call them French doors.
Oh yeah, we were like, fuck it, they're French doors.
Like, is French a thing in this universe? No, that's irrelevant.
But are we going to describe double arch doors with a lot of windows on them?
No. We're just going to call them French doors. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Teleporting is fine. Teleporting is fine.
So,
and I will say as well, in Harry Potter, Harry Potter does it too. It's apparating.
Yeah.
I mean, how much certain things like that, like, because I know for some people, like, hearing French doors or champagne instead of sparkling wine.
Really?
No, yeah, because they're like, but the region of
city in France,
they're like
the
region of
sparkling wine sounds more like, to me, sparkling wine sounds way more pretentious than champagne.
Champagne, yeah.
They're like
because
the region
champagne
of
is like barefoot. Like
the region
you
of
could
the
buy at Walmart.
They're like the region of Champagne doesn't exist, and if the region of Champagne doesn't exist, then Champagne can't exist. And I'm like, who cares?
Yeah,
that kind of thing does not cross my mind when I'm.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, if your sparkling wine is like pink or something, like it's a sparkling rosé or something, call it sparkling wine. But if it's like meant to be like champagne, just from another region, I don't care. It's fine. It's champagne. I am not going to be offended. And same with brie and camembert cheese. Apparently, like, there's a lot of people that get really upset if you call camembert if it's not made in camembert. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's camembert. I've just said that word many times in that sentence.
It's just a type at that point. Yeah,
it's got to sound original or fancy. And my thing is just like, so this is like, I mean, obviously, like we said, there's a lot of really strong opinions from like readers and writers, and it kind of depends on the type of fantasy people like to consume and stuff like that. And as an author / reader, I guess it just depends on the straightforwardness with which you like to communicate, you know, or the straightforwardness with which you like to be communicated with. I don't really care if like you're using a real world term that like technically doesn't exist. Like, I don't care if you have a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Like, I don't really care that much. I don't really care if you didn't come up with your own week system or your own month system. It doesn't bother me one bit because I've already memorized the weeks and the months, so I'm good, fam.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay.
Like, I mean, and it also just depends as well on how far away you go. Like, in terms of like we'll go back to the birthday one, right? I'm okay with naming day. I'm okay with it. Like, as a term for instead of birthday. Beyond that, there's not a lot that I can think of that would be fine.
I like Womb Emancipation Day. Nothing. Sorry, that's not one I've ever actually seen. But like, I've never. So they've never been like amusing enough for me to like, you know, warrant.
Be like, yep, I stand.
But have you guys?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever read the Harbinger series by Jenny?
No.
Which one's that one?
I don't know. It's a gargoyle.
That's the spin-off. That's the spin-off to the one that we did read. You know, where she like pick your own end game.
Yeah,
it's the spin-off.
I was just looking at Graphic Audio's website and I saw they had Jenny on there and I was like,
oh.
Okay, well, look, if you ever if we ever go down that route, we do have to read what is it? What's the other series called again?
I forget.
Dark Elements. We have to read Dark Elements before Harbinger.
But to finish that thought, there's a wide range of real world I don't know, terminology that people are willing to accept in fantasy because and oftentimes it depends on what people actually know about, because if you don't know that Champagne is a region in France, then it's not going to bother you. But then like the moment you learn about the fact that Champagne is a region in France, then it might bother you. Or if you know that like bourbon, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're already suspending disbelief to accept the fact that they speak English.
Well, yeah, part of the problem with like naming things in a separate world is that half the way that most of the time the way that we name shit is like it's from here.
Yep.
So you would have to rename almost every single object and food item. And then you would have to like, I don't know, how are you going to rethink like what beef and cows, because the name of cows comes from the Germanic word, but like beef is French in nature. So like you're going to have to reconcile that, or we can just chill the fuck out and call it Champagne. I don't know. That's just me.
Like let's if it's common vernacular, it's fine to put in there.
Yeah. Anyways,
it's absolutely fine. Yeah, sorry.
Teleporting is called
so he teleports away.
But he also says, "See y'all under the mountain." So Farah goes and hides in her room the rest of the day, and Tamlin's like, "I'm sending you home." And then this is when the amorphous blobs have sex.
I also feel like calling the mountain under the mountain, like when they're dead, we're just like, we're at under the mountain. Like it's the name.
We're at under the mountain. Yes. Yes.
I feel like that is, and it makes sense because also Faye is very rooted in a lot of like British Isles folklore and stuff like that. But like, have you seen some of the names of the places in like the UK?
Some of them are
they're like
really
full descriptions.
Yeah, they're really stupid sometimes.
Yeah. I'm having a mental blank, but like there's like, I don't think that's actually the name of the place, but like there's the names, like, you know, for example, Stone on the Hill.
Yeah. Like there's some
so
silly
under
things.
the mountain. I liked the little nod. I don't know if it was an intentional nod, but it feels like it was a nod.
Considering her map is almost entirely just Great Britain,
yes.
It's probably not.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Go home. I love you. Bye." So she goes home. She does not tell him she loves him. They're at a huge house with fine clothes again. Nesta sees through all this shit, but apparently they're all glamored to think that she just had to go take care of her great aunt Josephine or whatever. And it's been a few months. Josephine died, and now she's back.
And gave her all the wealth when it was just like a gift.
Yeah.
I don't know why he needed to give her more wealth because the family's doing pretty good.
I don't know. Elaine is just happy to be alive. Nesta is her usual glaring self. And
in her defense, she's kind of pissed off that, like, you know, she's just like, why are you bullshit?
Yeah.
I fucking know.
Yeah,
know, bitch.
Exactly. And then there's a whole chapter where she just goes and looks at their old house and then walks home.
It's stuff like that where I'm like,
did we need that? Yeah, no.
We could have, but we didn't.
So chapter 30, we're I wish we could say we're almost done, but we still have a whole plot to get through. We still have all of Under the Mountain. Going as
Under
fast
the
as
Mountain
my mouth can go.
Could have been so much shorter.
I liked it though. I still really like Under the Mountain.
It's my least favorite part of this book.
Oh wow, really? I don't like the trials, but I like.
It's the trials part. I find the trials super tedious and annoying because I knew what the answer was like right away with the riddle.
See, I didn't, so that might be why I enjoyed it more.
It's not like, okay, like I said, it's not even. I'm not saying that like you're anybody. Sorry, I'm not saying that you or anybody who didn't understand the riddle was like silly. I don't think you could get it from like the riddle itself. I just kind of guessed it because I think like we had just been talking about House of Night, and like the next day I read it and I was like, it's gonna be love and I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
You know, I feel for me, I don't know if it was because like the idea of love was already in my head, because that we've just been talking about it. All she had to do was say I love you and like all would have been well, right? But like all I needed to hear was, come on.
I have it written down. Hang on. There are those who seek me a lifetime, but we never meet.
Yes. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, love. My brain just went love. And then the more the riddle kept going, I'm like, love, 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 love. Each line, love.
Yep.
And then I texted you guys. I'm like, I swear to God, this is fucking love. I swear.
Yeah, I guess there's different types of people. I had no fucking idea. I've read this book before, and I read it this time, and I was like, I have no idea what the answer to this riddle is.
It's love.
I
always
really
love.
suck at the riddles.
When in doubt, love. Especially if it's a romance book.
I really think that like it is a poorly constructed riddle though, because the answer is obviously love because it's a book, but like that riddle in a vacuum, the answer is not obviously love. You're like, okay, it's more like that because read the whole riddle. Can you read the whole riddle?
I'll do it when we get there.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to progress.
I'm sorry.
Just before you try and progress though, you know how we were saying about like the British naming of like under the mountain, stone on the hill, etc.
Yeah.
At least it's not this. So the first one is the actual name of the place in Mary. And then the translation is the place where Tamatea, the man with the big knees who slid, climbed, and swallowed mountains known as Land Eater.
I don't know.
That is the name of a place in New Zealand.
That's ridiculous. New Zealand.
Yeah. One of the best parts though is in New Zealand a PH, I think it is pronounced as a F. WH is pronounced as a F. Sorry, WH.
Interesting.
And there is a place, it's spelled similar to this. I could be wrong on the spelling, but it's close enough. And that is pronounced Whakatane. And
I like that. That's funny.
I had a friend who had a sister named Tani, and he was in New Zealand and he saw it and he was like, he's just like, that is one of the most awkwardly named towns ever.
All right. We talked to Nesta. Nesta's like, the glamour didn't work on me. I know there's no aunt. I hated you, but I really hate dad. That's fair. It's very important to remember that Nesta hates her father.
Yeah.
Very important to remember.
You know what, though? I don't think she's wrong.
I don't think she's wrong either, but it's just very important to know.
Like, I mean, if the boats had sunk and then he was like, shit, and then he was doing his best and like never gave up, sure, it would be like, look fucked up, but he's freaking trying. But he's just like, no, we can all starve. That's fine.
Yeah, and the only time he starts trying again is once there's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I get Nessa's point of view 100%. So then we find out after the ball that the Claire and her family were all killed. So she's like, I have to go back. And she's like, hi family, anything weird happens, you run. And Nesta's like, gotcha. And
then Elaine pipes in with, I remember now.
Yeah, Elaine
nice.
says she broke through. And I have this funny note that TJ you'll like. In Nesta's iconic way of being the nicest bitch, like Sammy Sweetheart, she's like, you don't belong here. Go. So we go. We get to Tamlin's house and it's wrecked. No one's there except for Alice. Alice is like the High Queen Amarantha on behalf of Highburn came here and took him because he couldn't break the 49-year curse. She hates humans.
All you had to do was say, I love you.
All she had to do was say, I love you. The curse was Tamlin had to find a human who had killed a fae and marry her. And so Andrus, the guy that she killed in chapter 1, was a sacrifice that they kept sending out in hopes that one day he'd get killed.
Yep.
And then the whole, you have to come here because of the treaty was never real. It was just a ploy to get her to come there. And so Alice is like, I'll take you to Under the Mountain. So she goes to Under the Mountain. She finds the Ator, which is this like supernatural creature that can dissipate into nothingness. It's an invisible messenger for Amarantha. She gets an audience and sees a castrated, not literally castrated, but basically castrated Tamlin. The body of Claire is there, and Tamlin's like, I don't know who this lady is, to Farah.
Wait, yes. Like, I think though, right? I feel like the curse should have been broken because I feel like she was already willing to marry him. She just hadn't had the thought yet, but she was willing to. And that's what the curse was, one that was willing to marry him.
That's true.
So the curse should have been broken.
But then we couldn't have 50,000 more words to slog through. Sorry.
But then we wouldn't have any development with Rhys.
Yeah, so it had to be he needed to find a human girl willing to marry him, but not any girl. A human with ice in her heart with hatred for our kind. A human girl willing to kill a fairy.
I'm sure there was some other way we could sit on Rhys's lap without,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
I don't know. I really like
the fairy she killed had to be one of his men sent across the wall by him like lambs to slaughter. The girl could only be brought here to be courted if she killed one of his men in an unprovoked attack. So all he needed was someone who was willing to marry him. And so literally, because I know he gave her the opening, like, I love you, and she didn't say it back. All he had to say was,
will you marry me?
I could marry you, and put the thought into her head. And as soon as she has the thought, yes, I could marry him. Curse broken.
But then we wouldn't get any bonding with Rhys. And you know what? I'm happy.
We could have found a different way to have bonding with Rhys, though.
I don't care. I like this way. I like the Under the Mountain part. I don't know.
It's okay. Like that's fine. Sorry, that sounded super bitchy. That's not what I meant. Like
Amarantha has an enchanted ring with her sister's dead lover's soul in it because it's a human named Urian that betrayed her.
That's
I feel like that's an overreaction.
It's very important later. That's why I mentioned it. It's an eyeball. It's in her ring. It's the whole thing.
And
it's literally the rest of the plot of the series.
Yeah.
And we do get told as well that
that's right.
Like his soul is bound.
We don't meet the eyeball.
Yeah, no, his soul is bound to it. So like he's consciously just an eyeball.
He's just an eyeball.
Just watching everything, and he's fully aware.
Literally, when I say that he is the purpose for the rest of the fucking plot of the whole series, I mean it.
Yeah.
The eyeball in the ring is the purpose of the rest of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an important eyeball.
So they make a bargain.
You need to care about this eyeball.
Yes, Amarantha and
What happened to him? Because doesn't she get yeeted at the end?
You'll figure it out. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
like
told.
it's still around.
No, where's the ring?
It's still around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's around. He's around and about.
Someone gets it. I literally
Okay.
they don't get that specific with it, but it's still around.
Okay.
They make a bargain. Farah has to complete 3 challenges, and Tamlin is free along with the rest of the support, and the curse is lifted. The way out is to solve a riddle. Every month, every full moon, for 3 months, there's going to be a thing. She's attacked. She wakes up in a cell. Lucian helps her. Amarantha summons her.
Yeah,
we see a good.
Why did this have to go for 3 months?
That's also fair, but it's to give her time to recover in between, probably.
Mostly so that we can sit on Reese's lap.
That's not a bad thing.
But like,
it's not a bad thing.
But that's the real. That's like the meta reason why.
Yeah, but it's not a bad thing.
I'm just saying. I didn't say it was a bad thing. I'm just saying like the meta reason why is so we can sit on Reese's lap.
The plot needs.
Even though we see none of it. We see none of.
Yeah, but you know it happened.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have the riddle. There are those who seek me a lifetime, but we never meet, and those I kiss who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned, I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow. And then we have the first trial, and it is the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't,
also
you don't.
The answer to that riddle could have been like death. It could have been winter. It could have been snow. It could have been skiing.
That's why I didn't know what it was, because I was like, "There's so many options. Who knows?"
Like love is the obvious. Love is like the obvious book answer, but like the answer could be anything. I don't know.
Death doesn't fit. Death, because it's like, you know.
Oh, seek
the
me a
sweet
lifetime.
Release of death.
Huh?
The sweet release of death.
I mean, I guess
depends on your perspective.
I do it slow. Death. It's like when I kill, I do it slow. Death is always.
Oh, death is the moment you die. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but also at times I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare.
Yeah,
it's really a blessing.
And given who Amarantha is, it does make sense because she's just so bitter about her sister and Urian. I think it's Jurian.
The fact that and I think she's also just bitter about the fact that because also the context of this whole thing and this whole scenario also makes.
Yes,
I think that's also because
she wanted to marry Tamlin, and Tamlin said no.
Tamlin's dick, and Tamlin's like no, and she by this point, by the time she gives the riddle, she knows that Tamlin also
is in love with her. Yeah, love affair.
So she's just pissed.
Yeah. So after the Alaskan bullworm, her arm is all types of fucked. Reese was very impressed by the fight, by the way. He won't stop bleeding, so Reese shows up and he's like, I'll heal you for if 2 months or 2 weeks of every month you come stay with me at the Night Court. Apparently, Reese is really, really pale at this point. I wrote that down.
Also, there is a point in this conversation where I just get confused because she's like, that's not much time. I'm like, that's literally 50%.
Yeah.
Yes. So they bargain it down to 1 week every month. She stays with him whenever he calls upon her. So bargain sealed, and she gets the tattoos that will become iconic for the series. It starts up her hand, it goes all the way up to her elbow on her left arm. And an eye in the center of her palm.
Yeah.
Yes, gorgeous filigree.
Does the eye move? Because I'm pretty sure, like in that second task, she mentions
I think it does.
At all. Okay.
I think it blinks at her.
Okay. Okay.
And every time it does, you can look at it and go, "Hi, Reese." Bye, Reese. Anyways, so next thing we know, she's required to clean Reese's fireplace for some reason.
Lots of things spy on her without her knowing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she comes in and is like, Farah, what are you doing? He shows her his wings, which is a big deal. You don't know that yet, but that's a big deal. So, and this is when I wrote down, she drew a monster with bat wings, so she's already painted Reese. He's like, she does no more chores, thanks. They're like bonding, even though he's still an ass. Then Reese summons her all pretty, just like a salute. Remember this description for this outfit, Laura, because it will come back again.
So see through blue paint?
No blue paint next time, but.
Oh, okay.
She has paint all over to make sure that no one touches her because he'll see. He has her drink Fey wine, so she blacks out. And she's mad, but it's actually for her own good. I don't think we actually figure out this book what happens.
Yeah,
during
look,
those
we're told.
I don't think we find out till book 3.
We're told that she dances with him, but not in the same way that her and Tamlin danced when she was drunk on the other wine.
Yeah.
Implying
it's sexy dancing.
Sexy dancing. And then she just sits in his lap.
Yeah, and he also does not touch her anywhere except for her arm and her waist. He doesn't touch her anywhere else.
Yes, because that's the only smudges on the paint.
Yes. Anyways, next thing we know, Lucian's like, I can't believe you made this bargain with Rhys. I would have come and helped you. And she's like, I was dying. And he's like, okay, that's fine. That's fair. I love you. I love you too. Not really. They don't actually say I love you, but that's the energy you get.
Yeah, because also she was hoping that Lucian would come and heal her, but because Lucian shouted out a warning to her when she was facing
during the he was being punished.
And, he got whipped and wasn't healed and couldn't move.
So Rhys every night puts her in these dresses, gets her drunk in these gowns, but we see more of the good side of him than we do the bad. Then it's the second task, and this is the reading one. This one is so funny to me. I love this one because of the memes, because she doesn't know how to read, and she has to read something and pick a lever, and she's like, I'll just pick lever number 3, and then her hand like pulls back, and she's like, read.
I love. No, it was lever 2 because 1 is lonely and 3 is sisters.
Oh yeah, so she's like 2. Tamlin and I.
Yeah, she's like 2 for me and Tamlin, and and I'm like, you dumb bitch.
And so Rhys starts to help her.
Palm starts burning, and she's like, what the fuck? And then she goes to do it again, and it happens again. And she's like, rude. And she goes to 1, and it's burning, and then 3 is like fine.
And he's literally like in her mind, like, you stupid hoe.
Because like her and Lucian both are about to be impaled from the top by blunt instruments, so it's gonna take a fucking while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Lucian's like, just fucking pick one, you dumb bitch. And she's like, and then Rhys is in her head going, can we not be dumb?
That one. And so that's how Rhys.
That's
how Rhys learns.
Yeah, that's how Rhys learns that she can't fucking read. And he's like, are you serious? Because like, what's so funny to me too is that like the answer is so obvious to literally everybody else in this fucking arena.
Yeah.
And he's like,
can you not?
He's like, this dumbass whore.
The thing is Tamlin and Lucian don't know that she doesn't know how to read. They just think she doesn't know how to write. And so Amarantha probably knows because of like seeing she's smarter than Tamlin. And
well, is Tamlin dumb or does he just not care?
No, he really cares. He really does care about Farah. I think he's just stupid.
Yeah. And I just like at the end, like after it, Rhys is just like, who would have thought that the self-righteous human girl couldn't read?
Yes. So he comes to her cell and like taunts her and is like, you silly bitch. And she thinks internally at the end of the chapter, she's like, he is saving me by coming in here and riling me up. And I'm like, yeah, he is. Yeah, that's Rhys. Anyways, 2 more days until the trial. So we have one more party.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Party.
Sorry. There was a nice moment with Rhys before, like when he was still in her head while she was still in the thing after she pulls the lever. Because like she's about to like she's crumpled on the ground. She's about to start fucking sobbing and stuff. And Rhys in her head is just like, stand the fuck up.
Yes.
And look at that bitch. You look at her.
He's like, don't cry. You cry once you get to your cell. We love a supportive man. We love a supportive love interest, and that is what Rhys is.
And he's even like, count to 10, do whatever the fuck you have to do. Just make eye contact and glare. Just do it.
I love him. So we have a party.
Yes.
We're at the party. We're almost done. We only have like 5 more chapters.
I will say the bit with when Tamlin gets her, I did like that bit.
Yes.
Like it was very it's
like it's believable that they're in love.
Yeah, because
it will be believable what happened.
Because he has not acknowledged her for 3 months, right? Because he can't.
Yeah, he can't.
And he just comes up to her, and he just lightly touches her hand. Sorry, they're standing right next to each other, and he lightly touches her hand for a minute, and then he just starts walking away, and then looks back and nods, and she's like,
"So, that's right where we're at, actually." So her and Tamlin sneak off and make out, and then Rhys is there, and he's like, "You silly little people! Like, what if Amarantha walked out right now?" And so he goes back inside, and so Rhys shoves her against a wall, and is like, and she's like,
his hands covered in the blue paint.
Yeah, and she's like, "Why do you care?" And he pops his wings out and is like, "You think I don't care?" So then he makes out with her because Amarantha and Tamlin are coming outside. So he sends her back to her cell, and then she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I just need some peace and fucking quiet, and I just need some time to relax." So they chat. He tells her he's doing this because Tamlin will kill Amarantha, and then he can have the Night Court back. He also admits that his father killed Tamlin's father and brothers, so that's why Amarantha made him her whore, because Amarantha, Hybern, and Tamlin's family were tight back in the day. She's also like, "You knew I'd say yes to whatever you bargained for when you healed me," and he says, "I know." And it's just a sweet moment. Final task time. Her final task is to kill 3 random fae. Yes.
Just like at that moment, though, you kind of have this, at least you have this like impression that he's being more straightforward with her than Tamlin is.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And you always, into the next book, you'll always feel that way, that he is always being a lot more straightforward with her.
Yeah, he's still not telling her everything. He's been still coy, but he's also Fae. He's also Fae, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the saucy love interest.
Yes.
So her final task is to kill 3 innocent Fae. She kills the first one, who goes out begging. And I mean, this like destroys her. And in her internal dialogue, you can see it.
This is actually like fucked up. Honestly, it's good. This is good.
Written. This is why this scene is why like Under the Mountain the most. Like, is this?
Yeah, because like when
this is fucked up. I like it.
Because she has spent these 3 months thinking that all the Fae fucking hate her, think she's disgusting, whatever. And then Rhys says something like, "You're free. Like, you doing this is the only way we get free."
We're all riding on you.
And so then when she walks in there, she realizes that and I don't know if it's just like her changed perception or if their behavior actually did change. Because you know,
it's like the lives of everyone at Prythian. The lives of everyone at Prythian and the mortal realm is bargaining on me completing these tasks. Yeah,
it's actually a really clever use of first person, honestly. Like using her perception of the people around her and stuff like that, and also
and we'll never know.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Like you know, your perception of how people perceive you is what it is, and like that's what she's narrating, right? And the other thing is this scene is so intense, and I remember like reading this for the first time, and you know, again, if all you heard about it was what you heard about it, you're like fairy smut, and then this is the end of this book, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like a book. This is very well written. Like, I'm sorry.
And like,
and
I'm saying when this goes on and on.
Yeah, and like when she drives the first blade into the first Fae, she hears someone screaming in despair.
Yeah, and has the realization that this is someone's loved one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and which, like, I feel like that makes it, it's the point. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
But you also know, though, the fact that no one, I mean, maybe this person comes back and they're fucking furious, but the fact that the crowd don't seem mad at her in general, even though she's just literally murdered someone.
No, I don't think that there's ever, from what I remember, unless it's in book 3, there's no hard feelings.
And that's how much these people want to be free. Because also, like, when you're an immortal being, most immortal beings don't take the killing of another immortal being lightly because it's meant to be eternal.
Yeah. It's the second one.
does the second one take like a pro from memory?
Yes, the second one accepts her death. She's like, I know what I'm dying for. Kill me. She takes the hood off the third one, and it's Tamlin.
And she looks up because Tamlin was up there, but no, he wasn't.
Yes. So we now get a full, like, really long montage of her thinking back because Alice was like, listen to what people say there. That we can't tell you. There's one piece of information we cannot tell you.
But listen to everything you heard and hear.
And she figures out, that his heart is made of stone. So if she stabs him, he will not die. So she stabs him in the heart. And Amarantha's like, no! And she's like, I'm not freeing you, bitches!
The most annoying thing about that was like, and again, maybe I'm, because this was also really late at night.
Well, also the fact that Farrah didn't include a time frame.
She was looking at Tamlin. I'm like, look at that bitch while you do it. See her fucking face, because because Amaranth knows that she's not going to do it. Because why would she?
Yeah, why would she kill the reason that she's and Amarantha even goes off about that, where she's like, she has a whole montage, or not montage, a whole monologue about like, oh, well, kill him. You're not going to kill him because the whole reason you're doing this is for him.
Yeah, and by finishing this task, you are freeing him. So, and like she knows she's not going to do it, except for the fact that they were just like, all the invisible people were like, "She's coming, yo," and they're like, "Okay, let's talk about your stone heart."
So she doesn't free them, even though she's successfully completed the third task. Rhys tries to kill Amarantha, fails. Rhys gets thrown into a wall. It's a whole thing. And then she solves the riddle. Yeah, people start to riot. She solves the riddle. Curse is broken. Tamlin, beast mode, rips Amarantha apart. The High Lords.
Another part that you're like, okay, I think he's hot, maybe.
Yeah. And during this, Amarantha has snapped Farrah's neck. She is dying / is dead. She feels her neck snap, but all of the High Lords conglomerate around her, and she hears Rhys talking to her. And then she sees herself through Rhys's eyes and sees them bring her back to life through Rhys's eyes because they're bonded. And we're about to get to that moment, TJ, that I was referencing earlier. Okay. So she is very much a different person now. She is not only just high fae, but she's killed innocent people. She is really stressed. Her internal dialogue is like completely different. Rhys summons her through their bond after she boinked Tamlin through more flouncy language. And something happens when her and Rhys are talking that when he finally looks at her, he's like, I gotta go. And flies away immediately.
Okay.
Okay. There's no moment.
I gotcha.
And then
okay.
He just very nervously yeets. And then her and Tamlin go back to the Spring Court, and that is ACOTAR.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that moment the reason they're endgame?
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes.
I know that they're endgame. Okay, it's not a secret.
Yes.
I'm just saying, is that moment the origin of the endgame?
Yes.
So the origin of the endgame really is there you are. I've been looking all over for you. But that is the in-universe reason.
The origin of the endgame is that he's not blonde, but yes. But
the in-universe reason is whatever reason he looks at her and goes, and then runs away.
It is kind of nice though that wasn't there when they first met.
Yeah, because she was in high fae.
And now, I know you aren't going to tell me, and I kind of don't want you to, because I'm trying. This is one of the few series where I'm just like, I'm doing my best to avoid looking shit up, okay? Because I normally do.
With Sarah Jane,
but I'm enjoying
Sarah series. I agree. Don't look up spoilers.
However, I feel like there's something more between him and Tamlin than what we've seen.
Rhys and Tamlin?
Yes.
Like more drams?
I don't know. Like when the hood gets pulled off and Tamlin's there, Rhys is fucking horrified. And I don't know if it's just like, because
they've known each other for 500 years. That's what I'll say. They have known each other for 500 years.
Yeah. And also a lot of the stuff that he's doing that kind of seems to protect her, and had already established no, he's not in love with her earlier.
No.
And I feel like Tamlin's the only reason, like the main reason why he's protecting her dignity so much throughout this experience.
Well, so this isn't a spoiler. He's partly protecting her dignity because he is acting as Amarantha's whore. And he's doing that to keep his loved ones safe.
Okay.
And so he doesn't want her to be treated the way that he's been treated.
Okay.
So that's why he's doing that.
But I feel like there's something more to their relationship.
But Tamlin and... Because I'm almost done with the second book. Tamlin and Rhys have known each other for 500 years. There's a lot of drama that happens between 500 years.
Yeah.
I haven't hit the... Also, Mara, chapter 55. That's the book talk chapter. Yep, chapter 55.
The book talk. That's the book talk chapter.
It starts out with, like, I watched him eat every drop of soup. Yep.
Does it really? I don't.
Yeah, it's well because
is that the first line of the chapter, or is that's the sentence?
I'll tell you the first line of chapter 55.
But when he's eating soup, that's when I need to pay attention. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
So when he eats every drop of soup,
is eating soup
the bowl?
Is eating soup licking sexy? The bowl clean? Is that?
It is. Not.
I watched him consume every spoonful. His eyes darting between where I stood and the soup. When he was done, he set down his spoon.
I feel like soup is one of the least sexy foods.
It is.
It is.
The only thing Sarah knows how to cook, okay?
But, however, though, he has been trained in etiquette, so he probably knows how to not slurp you tip spoon.
Yeah.
But it's still not sexy.
But it's still not sexy. But I feel like it's less unsexy when you eat it properly.
All I'm saying,
just become very familiar with the term the Bat Boys.
Oh, the Bat Boys. Cassian.
We're gonna be referring to them collectively as the Bat Boys
once we meet them. Yes. And Mara, also, if you would like to preview my, like I said, I'm not done yet with next book, but if you'd like to preview my notes, I will just start scrolling. Ready?
Okay.
Aim. Fire. I am not done. This book is long. A lot happens.
Yeah, I will say this was a 16-hour audiobook, which also I think on its own is enough to exclude it from YA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dramatized version or the real version?
The
real version.
Actual version.
The dramatized is like 10, so it's like a reasonable length.
So the dramatized version of the next one is 16 hours, and the real length is 29.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
Okay, so I'm gonna
dramatized. Do the dramatized versions.
No, I'm the first time I'm experiencing it.
I've already listened to all the real ones, so I'm doing all dramatized. So
yeah, I've read all the real ones, so I'm doing all dramatized.
Anyway, so that is ACOTAR.
Yes.
And so we will figure out a time.
Probably next Tuesday would work for me again, but if you guys want more time to read.
It would work for me. I'll just
it works for me too, but we will figure it out.
That's probably what we'll do.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.